I'm running behind, but it's because I got here and I decided I didn't like the Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios anymore. Like, I was like, I can do better than this. I was scouring the internet for somebody's, like, gross Thanksgiving, like, what they do. And I was just, like, very disappointed by, like, there's nothing new. There's nothing, like, this tradition is taking over in Iowa this year. They...
Like, what did we do? The chili sticky buns or whatever, that one time.
But that wasn't Thanksgiving related, though. I was looking for something.
Happened to be around Thanksgiving, I guess.
Was it?
Yeah. Or at least I thought
I don't think it had anything to do with Thanksgiving. I think it was just...
Well, it's been added to my Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I think of it.
See, now. Now, that was good, Griffin. I need more one-liners like that from you. I need more zingers.
All right, I'll keep working.
I don't know. I want you to... I think I would have you prioritize other things.
If I give you one line a show, that
it really would go a long way, man. I got to be honest with you. It would go a long way. So yeah, that's what happened. I was scouring. I was spending so much effing time trying to find an answer, and nothing, man. By the way, apparently I need to be prepared. I'm smoking the turkey this year. I have to be prepared for it to take 7 hours.
Oh, man.
So I was trying to go out to the Ravens today because I'm hosting on 105.7 the next couple days, and I haven't been out since training camp. And I was like, I should make an appearance. Today would be a good day to do it. I'll run out there, and then I'll come home and I'll smoke the turkey. 7 hours? I got to be awake at 5 in the morning. Like, this just ain't an option.
Well, you can nap while the turkey. I don't
know.
Yeah, I guess.
Not really a choice either. I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. I think I bit off more than I can chew with this one. I really just should have said I'm not working at the radio station tomorrow and just gotten up in the morning and I don't know. I kind of like to have a backup plan in case something goes wrong. Like, tell you what the backup plan is for tomorrow. Also got some turkey breasts. That's the backup plan in case anything goes wrong with the smoke. 7 hours. I get it. Somebody's be like, dude, do you like smoking or not? Like, I do.
So.
But I really, like, you know what I really like about.
What time will you get back from Ravens if you were to go out there?
Oh, they're not even doing availability until 3:30. So I wouldn't get back until like 5 o'clock at the earliest.
Why 3:30? Oh, because of the Monday, I guess?
No, it's a normal. Apparently, Bo tells me that's the normal time.
Okay.
And they're just not changing it. Like, I would have thought that given that Thanksgiving was tomorrow, they would change the time. But I guess it makes sense because of the quick turnaround for Monday that they wouldn't bump up the time. They'd say, hey, we'd like the guys to be,
We'll just watch practice then.
What you want me to go watch practice? You gotta watch the 10 minutes of practice that you're allowed to watch? Boy, I got to tell you, Jordan Stout looked great today. Imagine if that's what I go on the radio with tomorrow morning. Breaking news, everybody. Jordan Stout really booming them. I'm Glenn Clark. 105.7 The Fan. Come on.
Well, that's why the people tune in.
Come on. I haven't even tweeted out what's coming up on the program today. I'll tell you guys first. You'll know before everybody else. What a day. Coming up on the program today, we will look ahead to Ravens-Eagles. Trey Thomas, former Eagles offensive lineman, podcaster. He'll be with us to preview Sunday's matchup. We will also do our picks for the week because we will not be together Thursday or Friday, so we're going to get the picks in today. It's not because the Thursday games are so important. I think we're only including one of them. Between Thursday and Friday, I believe we are including one of the 4 games.
Yeah, that's correct.
Not that I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about the topic. I fought the crusade against the Lions being on Thanksgiving every year, but like the Lions are the team we're actually looking forward to seeing on Thanksgiving this year. So I don't even have a.
Who do they play? The Bears.
They play the Bears. It's not great.
That's actually.
But like, it's at least good quarterbacks.
It's not when it was like Lions Washington when they were both in the doldrums.
Yes. Okay. Speaking of which, Cowboys Giants, the second game tomorrow.
Well, I never watched the Cowboys game anyway.
Oh no? What do you do during the Cowboys game?
We're usually like eating, I think, by then, and it's just like, this is a good excuse to not watch the Cowboys.
I don't know why this is. I think it's because we normally had to do 2 Thanksgivings. We always eat during the first game. So this year apparently we're not doing the long story. We do 3 Thanksgivings in our house. We do Thanksgiving at my mother-in-law's house, but with my parents and everybody. guess my sister's not coming this year. I think she has COVID. I don't know. Whatever. It's a whole thing.
I hope she's all right.
Can I be honest? Can we have an honest conversation?
I guess.
Over it. And if you're not,
it doesn't count anymore.
If you're not dying, like when she said she tested positive for COVID, I really wanted to respond and just be like, I just wanted to say, are you sick or not? If you're genuinely sick, all good, right? Like, if you're like, I'm retching, I'm dying, I'm all good. We understand. If you just tested positive and you're like, I feel fine, just come on over. Like, what are we doing here? What is this? I know somebody's going to scream at their, you're like, what? Well, you're not a medical. Dude, I get it. I understand. I'm just over it. And it always seems like it pops up again this time of year, and then you get into that place, and I don't think my sister would do this at all. Like, there's no reason why my sister wouldn't want to be at Thanksgiving. But like, there's
sure?
No, I know. I know. There's no reason. But like, there's definitely people that like will say that. You're like, yeah, do you? Did you test positive for, or did you just not want to come? You could just say that. We'll stop inviting you. We don't need the rejection. That's not my sister. That's not the case. She I legitimately believe she did test positive for COVID. I really want to. You can't do that in a group text. You can't in a group text say, okay, but are you sick? You can't do it. I'm sorry. We've been doing it. It's 4.5 years. I just don't have it in me anymore. We're good. We all got it. It's the whole thing. I think we know at this point if you're going to die or not. I think.
I've never tested positive.
I've never tested positive for it either, and everyone in my family did. And at a point, I had to test every week because of my college jobs. I had to go every week for testing.
Yeah.
Never tested
so was
positive.
I because I was living on campus for part of it. Yeah, and
so you had
testing us twice a week.
Oh, I didn't do that. Boy, look at
you.
Well, some weeks I did because I had to work both jobs, but like not every week.
100% rate. Just
look at you, right? Like acing every test. Yeah, that's what you get for studying.
They couldn't catch me.
Yeah, right? I didn't study once, and I was killing it. Anyway, sorry. I don't know how I got down there. What the hell happened here?
Would you rather?
No, I was. Oh, yeah, I wasn't
those,
happy with them. We're going to have to deal with them because I don't have time. I ran out of time. All right, so what I was saying is here's what's coming up on the program. We're doing picks. We're doing Trey Thomas. Seth Greenberg is going to join us a little bit later on. He was in studio for Maryland Villanova on Sunday. We'll catch up with him, talk some Terps. And also, we will catch up with Jay Gruden, who was tweeting significantly during the Ravens game on Monday night. We'll get his thoughts on what he saw from the Ravens and look ahead to Sunday as well. So all that coming up on the program today. Today's show brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. Griffin.
You are getting $7 in free slot play at Live Casino Hotel whenever a touchdown is scored during home games from Baltimore or Washington's football teams. And as Glenn pointed out yesterday, they are both home on Sunday.
Back. Just camp out.
Yeah, exactly. Washington at 1, Baltimore coming up at 4:25 against Philly. So there's definitely some big touchdown scoring opportunities there. Live Rewards members who have their Live Rewards card inserted correctly into the slot machine and are actively playing when those touchdowns score during home games for Baltimore, Washington this season. $7 in free slot play. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
As far as news is concerned, obviously Blake Snell news kind of rocked the baseball world last night. And, boy, it's just really nice to see when it's different, when, like, a different team gets into the mix. And when, it's the underdogs that are able to come up and spend some money and get a...
And I'd like to think, it'd be like, oh, well, maybe this means they won't get burns, but it's like...
Oh, no, not at all.
It does not.
Not even a little
It doesn't
bit.
even imply that.
Not even a little
whatsoever.
Hey, the Orioles didn't have to give the deferred money to Renee Pinto. What are they, some sort of poverty team over there in Los Angeles? I am torn. Somebody would say, Glenn, aren't you the guy that years ago was like, the Orioles should spend the money? I'm sick of hearing that. I'm exhausted by it, is what it is. I'm exhausted by it because, yes, if your opinion is there's no reason why David Rubenstein can't go spend money, you're right. You're correct. He could. 1,000%. He sure as hell has it. Guarantee you could put together a deferred money package as well if he wanted to let. He's not going to be around. I'm not saying that. I don't want to be. He says that too. I wouldn't be comfortable making those jokes if he didn't make them himself. That abundantly clear. Not Glenn Clark speaking out of turn. He's the one that talks about racing to the finish line. All right, back off me. So yeah, there's part of me that does, say, hey, look, yeah, go. The Orioles can go spend money too, but it's also exhausting. It really is. It's exhausting that it's always the same teams. It is. It's both. It's not even about the Orioles. Like, you just sort of like it if one time it was the Twins or one time it was the Mariners or the insert team name here. Just somebody different. The Reds.
The A's.
Wouldn't that be I don't think it's going to be them. Wouldn't it be wild if, like, last night all of a sudden you were like, dude, did the Reds just spend $200 million on Blake Snell? It would make baseball more interesting. That's the thing. It can be both. It's exhausting that it's always the same teams, and it's bad for the sport. That's the part that they can't escape from. Even when we say, hey, the Orioles could do it too, yes, but when it continues to be the same teams, then remember how exciting it was when it was the Padres? Just the Padres. Yeah. Like 10 minutes down the road from the Dodgers, and we were like, oh, thank God, it's just someone else. Anybody else. When it's always the same teams, it hurts baseball. The football offseason is electric because the Jaguars are going to sign somebody. And, yeah, they're going to overpay for them, and we're going to, realize fairly quick. Like, my guy, Christian Kirk was really good for, 5 minutes. For 5 minutes, we were like, yo, remember how stupid everybody else was for letting the Jaguars overpay for Christian Kirk? He looks great. All good things fall apart. That's the way it works. They're the Jaguars. They're going to be the Jaguars.
Also that.
But they're going to sign somebody. They're going to be involved. Their fan base is going to be invested, and they're going to be paying attention, and football is going to matter. And this is not me doing the football is always better than baseball bit. It's not. But it's this particular issue is one where football has a giant advantage. Because for the majority of the year, all of the fan bases are invested. Whereas once the team that you watch is eliminated, in most markets, you're sort of like, nah, we'll catch you when we catch you. You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I don't know. What is the problem?
I'm trying to get that to go away.
Well, I agree, but what you were doing was making it appear, not making it go away.
Because I was testing.
Okay, but now it's there.
Yeah, I understand that.
What is it? Whose mic is it?
I guess it's...
Is it yours? All right. Well, why don't we switch cords or something? Why don't we do something to make it go away instead of just doing that? And I don't even know if anybody else can hear it. But if it's me, I'm Glenn Clark from Glenn Clark Radio. Not sure if you're aware. So I'm the most important here. Gonna need you to work around my schedule. I say all that to say it's hurtful. Because it's the exact same response from everybody else that follows the sport. Like, them again. Cool. Great. Super excited about baseball season so we can just watch that underdog story, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and listen to somebody say, nobody thought we could do this. It's harmful for baseball. There's no way around that. It is. It's harmful. Does that mean that they shouldn't be allowed to? Does that mean that... No. There should be nothing that says the Dodgers aren't allowed to sign a player. But it would be great if at some point all of the invested parties were willing to look big picture and recognize that it can be better. It's so narrow-minded, and we've given so much power to such a small group of people that are always thinking about themselves, that there's no ability to have a conversation about, is there a way that we can improve this for everyone?
So are you in favor of a salary cap then?
I'd only be in favor of a salary cap if it was football. Like, if it was a guarantee that a certain amount of all the money made by baseball was spent on baseball players to make sure that it isn't artificially limiting. So that would have to obviously involve a salary floor and have to involve certain. That's what's worked for football, right? Yes, there's a salary cap. There's also a salary floor, and the salary cap always goes up based on how much money the sport is making. The football players are always getting theirs. Now, the football players will all tell you we'd rather be baseball players because the baseball players can get whatever amount of money they want to get. But that works for a certain percentage of baseball players and not on the whole. The idea would be, how do you come up with the percentage? How do you do the math? This is what happens when no one opens their books. How do you do the math to figure out what percentage of the money that's being made by the sport is being spent on baseball players? And is it possible that if you did salary cap and salary floor, you'd end up coming away with they're not spending as much money on baseball players as they could. But that would require them to open their books. It also require things like, we see Major League Baseball taking over more and more regional broadcasting deals. It might require baseball doing the thing that the NFL has done, which is centralizing all broadcasts. Now, that becomes tough because you don't really want someone in New York running Orioles broadcasts, because part of what we love about baseball is the local feel to it. That these are people in our community. They're part of the furniture. They're a part of our lives every summer. We don't really want it to be, hey, this week Carl Ravitch is calling the games, and next week it'll be Sean McDonough, and the week after that it'll be, not to take anything away from all of those very talented people, it's that it lessens the experience. We like the fact that the people that are calling the games feel like they're part of our family. It's part of the charm of baseball. But could that all be accomplished? Could they take over broadcasting and have more shared revenue and allow it to be more I don't know. And do you want to give handouts to owners that have been crap owners? Like, hey, John Fisher, you're terrible, but what we're going to do is we're going to give you more of our revenue in order to lift you up. It makes the conversation so complicated. And I acknowledge that. I don't have all of the answers. I just know this sucks. Because to Griffin's point, this ain't the last one. When they sign Juan Soto tomorrow, it's just exhausting. And I'm not trying to suggest that it makes. I'm sure that no Dodgers fan felt lesser about winning the World Series because they had all of the players. I'm sure they all said, yeah, we won the World Series. I don't give a rat's ass.
One guy blew his hand off.
Yeah, right. Thank you. That's right. But to me, it's part of the reason why I told you guys I just wasn't into the World Series. I couldn't pretend like there was an embraceable story in any of it. There wasn't. Nothing. It sucked. And they did well because the market sizes were good. I'm not trying to pretend the country revolted against the World Series. Sure as hell didn't. But still. It just sucks, man. There's no way around it. It just sucks. It's a giant bummer that it's always the same teams. And I don't say that. It is a challenge. Hey, David Rubenstein, spend money. Yes, 100%. Go get baseball players. You don't have to be the Dodgers. But let's go. Let's go. Yes, that's part of it. But it's also being able to look at it from 10,000 feet and say, this isn't good or healthy for the entirety of a sport. It's not. And that needs to be recognized. So there you go. Not a sermon, just a thought. There's Blake Snell. Bet on himself last year, and good for him. He ends up cashing in significantly on that bet. Blake Snell gets a 5-year, $182 million deal from the Dodgers. Apparently, some of the money is deferred, so why not? Why not? All right, there was also a lot of great college basketball last night. My head was spinning. I watched Duke, Kansas. That was the one that got the majority of my attention.
Feeling pretty good about the Wizards.
Oh? What happened with the Wizards?
Well, they're just going to get that guy on Duke.
Oh, Cooper Flag?
Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, I don't know. The way...
He's good. I don't want to make it seem like
the lottery works. I don't know.
But
the 1 year the Wizards are going to be terrible.
Yeah.
It's going to...
I don't know, man.
I mean, well, he's 17 years old. That's what's like.
Yeah, that part of it, but like
is
he doesn't come off to me like this guy is definitively going to be a superstar for the next 20 years. Like, I think he's a good player, but and I get it. To your point, we're only watching the first couple of games, and we'll see what he looks like by the end of the year. But it comes off to me more like a lot of other Duke basketball players that I've watched over the years, which are like, they're good. They're good. Not saying you wouldn't take them, but number one, definitively the guy, I don't know that I see that. If you missed that game, the story was that Hunter Dickinson, who, yes, is still in college. I felt bad for him last night. He lost his mind and kicked the guy in the head. But in his defense, he's like 50 years old, and they were asking him to play at midnight. I mean, it's very aggressive. Hunter Dickinson was ejected late in that game for kicking a guy in the head. His big age. He's got to know better. I think somebody pointed out, it might have been our buddy Arditi, said that Hunter Dickinson's legitimately 6 years older than Cooper Flagg, playing in the same college basketball game. Sure, why not? But Kansas does win. Pity for Duke. Just a real pity. Couldn't even win when Hunter Dickinson got ejected. Just a real shame. Who's the guy that Knipple?
Yeah, I do like.
God, my God.
Hearing.
Both him and Cooper Flagg. Really good that they play in 2024 and not 2004. In 2004, opposing fan bases probably treat them a little bit different. Probably some things said and chanted. Not suggesting there won't be any of that this year, but, as a society, we've moved forward a little bit. Yeah, he missed, he went 0 for 7 from beyond the arc, that guy. Just a real shame.
Probably sounds right.
Just a real shame. Just a real bummer, man. Real bummer. And, a lot of college hoops yesterday. Loyola rallied to beat VMI, which is good. I was watching some of that. It was a fun night of watching basketball. Watched some
Alabama
of the
beat Houston.
Yeah, that's right. And then that was an overtime game.
Yeah.
And then Auburn
beat North Carolina.
North Carolina,
yes.
So they're going to play Memphis in the Maui title today. Great hoops. Maryland plays today as well in the afternoon. I think it's like a 4:30 game for Maryland against Bucknell. All right, let's get into Ravens-Eagles coming up this Sunday here in Baltimore. Game of the week in the NFL, 4:25 for that one. Our next guest, a former offensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's now a podcaster. This has got to be the life, though, because his podcast it's an Eagles podcast, but it's like really it seems to be about wine. He's got to explain this to us. He is Trey Thomas. And he is back with us now here on GCR. Trey, it's Glenn in Baltimore. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys, too.
Dude, you got to explain to me how you get this gig. You get to you're talking Eagles, but it's really like an excuse for you to just go drink wine? Like, what's that all about?
Man, it's just something, man. Todd Harriman and I, man, we just bounce around, go hit different wineries in between New Jersey and PA. And just explore the wine region, man, that's here, So it's always good to sit down, have a couple glasses of wine, and talk some football.
That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. How long you been doing it?
This is going on our second year now.
That's awesome.
So we've explored a lot of different wineries here in New Jersey and PA, man. And then it's a lot of the one thing I like about it, like a lot of people don't know how many wineries are up here in this area. So it kind of works as a double-edged sword to kind of, help promote some of these wineries that are out there. So I enjoy the drives.
That's awesome, man. It's Between the Vines with Todd and Trey, and you can find it on YouTube, a bunch of other locations, and a really cool concept, a couple of former Eagles getting together every week. That's dope, man. Congratulations. Trey, the Eagles, let's get into it, right? Like, when they got Saquon Barkley, I think we all kind of said, man, there's a real chance that this could be like an indefensible offense. But everybody was a little bit taken aback by how things went at the end of last season, so like we needed to see it. Now that we've seen it, is this like the greatest offense maybe you've ever seen in Eagles history?
Yeah, I think yes. With the way the offensive line, number one, is playing, They're playing at an extremely high level, even with the receiving core that you have out there. When you got A.J. Brown, you got Slim out there at the other side, and then even with Dallas Goedert in there at tight end, man, you have a lot of weapons out there that you can throw to. And then, man, what Saquon has just brought to this team is just on a different level.
So can you define that? Because the Saquon thing is a revelation. And look, in Baltimore, we're very happy that the Ravens spent money on Derrick Henry. That's worked out quite well. But what we're seeing out of Saquon at this point in his career, this might be the best we've ever seen him.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the first time he's been behind a really good offensive line as well. Like right now, man, when you're talking about running the ball, you're operating in Coach Stoutland's wheel well. Like he is one of the best coaches at getting guys to create movement. And, these guys out there, man, you got a massive athletic offensive line that Saquon is running behind. I mean, they are creating movement on a whole nother level, and you're getting Saquon. Every run play is designed to get the running back to the safety, and they're doing it. And, once you get Saquon to the safety, he's gone.
Oh, my God. It's remarkable to watch, and it's what merely scares me about this matchup on Sunday as we're chatting with Trey Thomas here on GCR. Trey, where is there a weakness? Like, what is it? And again, I know a lot of people have said this about the Ravens offense this season long, but is there anywhere that the Eagles are susceptible or that you can take advantage of them offensively?
I'm not going to give you that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who's listening to y'all's show. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not going to give y'all how to beat us. No. There are no weaknesses. They're indestructible.
Say, that's I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. So let's go to the other side. Let's go to the other side of the field, right? Because I think what makes the Eagles scary is that they're getting the job done both ways, and that we kind of always knew is the Eagles' defense good enough that if there is an off day from the offense for whatever reason, they can hold up their end of the bargain?
I mean, it's been defense that's been carrying us. You see, we don't start out fast, so that's one of the things that defense has been carrying us to the point so finally things get clicking on offense. But I think one of the things that's most impressive with our defense is that our secondary play has just upgraded several notches. Like our cornerbacks are playing really well. We got Cooper DeJean out there, man, and you got Blankenship, and then you got Q Mitchell on the other end, and then, you might have Slay, depending on what's going on, or right behind it is Isaiah Rodgers, who's a very talented cornerback himself. Those guys they're doing a really good job out there on the secondary level, and then I think our linebacker play has definitely gotten a lot better. It has been a big improvement this year, and then our rush is starting to come along.
So if I could, just big picture, Trey, what happened at the end of last season and how things fell apart? Because it's the one thing that I feel like that some of the Eagles fans in my life are still nervous about, which was, hey, we felt really good about this time last year, and then it didn't work out. Can you put your finger on what happened, and is it Saquon proof? Is it, there is one significant difference, and that's the reason why we're confident that it won't happen again this year?
Yeah, I think that this team is having fun, man. They're enjoying playing for each other, enjoying playing with each other, and I think that just helps, as far as the chemistry within the locker room. And I think that they have enough leaders in this group now that it can help keep things going, even when things start to get a little challenging. You have some leaders within that locker room that can pull everybody together.
Trey, the one thing that would be in the Ravens' favor is Lamar Jackson has literally lost one time in his life to an NFC team. It is a dominance over the NFC that is, at this point, really hard to explain, but at the same time, it's fact. What do you make of how good Lamar Jackson's been against the NFC? Why do you think there seems to be such an advantage over NFC teams, and does that concern you going into Sunday's matchup?
What NFC teams has he beat? I don't know how many ones. Which ones?
Basically all of them, right? Like over the years, like the
Yeah,
Lions were world beaters last year. The 49ers were world beaters last year, and they ran all over them and blew them out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what it is. You never know. I mean, Lamar is a threat out there, man. He can move around. I think he's gotten a lot better with his throwing and his accuracy as well and decision making. But he's one of those type guys that you have to keep an eye on him. And he can be extremely dangerous when he breaks the pocket.
Is there anything that so I think the theories that people have is that NFC teams don't see him as frequently, and that's why he has such an advantage over them, unlike teams that you play twice a year or more. Do you make anything of that he's so unique that it can be a disadvantage for teams that don't see him as often?
Yeah, possibly. I think that's something that could definitely play in it. Some of the one that you don't see all the time. That's his style of rush. Because really, in the NFC, you don't have that style of quarterback. No, you don't. I'm trying to think anyone that's as athletic as Lamar on the NFC side. You don't.
Right.
So it's because you don't have anybody that's on his type of athlete. So I guess that does play in his favor. That is someone that we don't see him all the time.
What do you make of this matchup? It does feel like these are two teams that when they're at their best offensively, it's really hard for even a good defense to stop them. What do you think this comes down to on Sunday, Trey?
It's all about the offensive line, man. Who can create more movement and who's going to protect? And that's what it's all about. I think that if we go out there and we do what we got to do as far as with our secondary, if our secondary can go out there and shut y'all down and make Lamar have to hold on to the ball and our defensive line can be disciplined and beat that line, then, I like our chances. You know what I'm saying? If we go out there and lay a dud and give up a lot of sacks, then, that's going to be a problem. Or if we can't create that same run game that we've been relying on over the past couple of weeks, then it's going to be a problem. So, I think it's all about what happens up front.
I want to run this by you. Obviously, it has nothing to do with the Eagles, but in the game Monday night the Ravens played, they went for it 4th and about half a yard from their own 16-yard line, right? If you're a player and you get that call in, is your response, oh, hell yeah, I love this? Or is it more like, yo, what are we doing here?
Man, I really don't. I guess as a player, when I was playing, I really didn't. There wasn't much to it. It's all right, you make the call. All right, let's get to it. Okay. I'm all about focused on. All right, let me make sure I make this play, and if I don't be the reason that it doesn't work.
I get that, right?
Hello?
Obviously, the Eagles might as well go for it on 4th and 1. How do you Is there any way to defend it? Is there any possible way to stop a tush push? Can it be stopped, Trey?
Well, I'm not a tush push. I don't call it tush push. I'm more on the brototherly shove.
Brotherly
side.
Shove, sure. We'll
go
with
so on the brotherly shove. But as far I have my theory on how to stop it, but again, I'm not telling y'all.
I completely get it. All right, Trey Thomas. Hey, what's the one seed for you on the plate tomorrow? What's the thing you'll go back for 3 to 4 times?
We're probably gonna do some stuffing. We'll definitely go back to back for stuffing.
What kind of is it? Sausage stuffing? Is it oyster stuffing? Describe the stuffing?
No. It's like a cornbread stuffing.
Oh yeah.
Cornbread stuffing, with I don't know, man. Yeah, with gravy. Throw some gravy on it.
That works. All right, at 72 Trey Thomas. That's how you follow him on Twitter. Trey, appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking the time for us this morning. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Let's talk again soon. All right.
All right, sounds good. Take care. All right, bye.
Trey Thomas, former Eagles offensive lineman, with us here on GCR. Appreciate him spending the time with us. Trey's really worried that he's giving away trade secrets. I don't know if maybe the Eagles tip him off on the game plan or something.
Yeah, they're just scared, obviously.
He's trying to break it down. Yeah, that's probably what it is. That is kind of crazy that he was not. He's like, yeah, but who's Lamar? I'm like, well, everybody. He's 23-1 against the NFC. The only guy he's ever lost to is unemployed.
For now.
Might be a Raven. That smoke won't go away. We'll bring that up during Would You Rather Wednesday. That one, Peter King apparently was banging that drum this week. I don't remember what Peter King's on. Is it Tom Brady's podcast?
Is that what he's doing now?
Or I think it's Jim Gray, Tom Brady, and Peter King maybe is the show or something. I'm not a podcast guy. But Peter King was on there saying that he thinks that Daniel Jones would prefer to play for the Ravens. Now, I don't know if he's like reporting that or this is the problem with Peter King now. He's like retired. So I don't know if that like somebody tipped him off to that or he's speculating that. Like I think
he was just a guest on their show, right?
Yeah, but I think he's on every. I think he's
he's like on.
I think he's a regular part of it.
Got it.
Like I don't think it's a he was on this week. I think he's a regular part of the show. He might not be a co-host. I think he's just on it every week so that he can stay involved in retirement or something like that. And he was banging the Daniel Jones, the Ravens drum this week, and you're just like, is there smoke here? Is it more than we realize it is? Like, what is this exactly? What are we talking about? But that's the 23-1. That's the record, and it's like on otherwise, if the Eagles were an AFC team this week, I would be terrified because of how good they look. But then they're an NFC team, and I'm like, well, but he always beats the NFC teams. It'd be like betting the Chiefs to cover a big number, which they are, I think, again, like 12-point favorites on Friday.
Why aren't we picking it?
Because we had just bet the Raiders. It's like it seems like it would be reckless to bet against Lamar Jackson against an NFC team. And yet, we've watched the Eagles. They look really good, man. They look really like they're not punting on 4th and 1.
Because then I did start to think about it. Like, how do you stop them right now? Like, it is. They've just been running over everyone. I
think you're like hoping that Jalen Hurts throws the ball to the wrong spot. Like, does it look like Devontae Smith is going to be back this week?
It's maybe that
doing picks on Wednesday is tough too.
Yeah,
right? Because we had
who knows? Maybe that was even part of it, like holding him out, like looking ahead. I'm not sure.
To try to have him for the Ravens game, maybe. I don't know.
Who did they play last week?
The Rams.
Yeah, all right, I guess they would. They would have wanted him.
I think they would have wanted him. Obviously, in the end, they didn't need him, but I don't think they could have been planning that going in. I think that would have been a lot. I don't know, man. I don't have the answers. What I know is that we're going to talk to Jay Gruden when we come back in. Don't forget, it is semifinal week in the state high school football playoffs. Find out everything you need to know by going to countysports.zone. It's proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Jay Gruden joins us next. We'll talk a little Ravens and little Eagles with him as well, right here on GCR. Visit Harford County this holiday season for a brand new event. You'll feel like you stepped into a holiday movie. Harford Holidays is overflowing with the spirit of the holiday season. You'll be amazed by the jaw-dropping light displays, thrilled by a visit to Santa's workshop, and have the holiday time of your life with sleigh rides, a special vendor village, s'mores making stations, and so much more. It's a holiday light experience, new at Ripken Stadium, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, December 6th through December 22nd. For ticket information, head to visitharford.com. You'll have the happiest holiday season ever.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans. And fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Brooks Dubose profiles Maryland basketball forwards Derek Queen and Julian Reese as the Baltimore-built duo reunites in College Park with hopes of bringing the Terps back to prominence. Also inside, meet college basketball players from all of the area's D1 programs. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores, where you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Wednesday edition of the program. Ed Block Courage Awards Foundation Holiday Party is December 9th at the Evolved Hospitality. Let me try that again. Hi, Glenn Clark Radio. Back in here. I was trying to tell you that the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation Holiday Party is December 9th at the Evolved Hospitality Catering Hall in Falston with special guest host Zay Flowers. The event includes a live podcast show, audience Q&A, meet and greet, and photo op with the Ravens star wide receiver. You can enjoy a tailgate buffet from three-time Best of Baltimore chef Zach Trabold of the renowned The Local Restaurants. Donate a toy to support the children at St. Vincent's Villa and received an autographed picture from Zay. Tickets are $100 each and available now at bidpal.net/holiday24. Had to do this a little bit earlier on because of his schedule, but an opportunity to catch up with Coach Jay Gruden right here on GCR. Of course, the Ravens went out to L.A. and beat the Chargers on a Monday night, and I was following this man on Twitter as he was sharing some of his thoughts about the game. He knows a thing or two about football brother matchups, and I guess he's been on the side of Jim the one time he went up against his brother John. He is, of course, Coach Jay Gruden, Underdog Fantasy, and he is back with us now here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn. Always great to catch up. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Glenn, happy Thanksgiving. Great win by the Ravens on Monday night. That was fun to watch.
So you told the story on Twitter, but you know a thing or two about being on the wrong end of a matchup against your brother.
Yeah, surprisingly, we coached a lot. I coached with them for 7 years in Tampa Bay, but as coaches, we never went against each other. When I was coaching with the Redskins, he was in the broadcast booth. And then when he got out, we never got a chance to play him. Then, of course, I got fired, and that's the end of it. But I was a player for Louisville, and he was a graduate assistant coach for the University of Tennessee. And, yeah, they got us 41-10.
Yeah, that, has he ever let you live that down? Has he reminded you about it a few times over the years?
No, not really.
Okay.
He was just being a graduate assistant.
Yeah, it's not
mainly drawing up cards and not doing a whole lot, but I think deep down he was pulling for us. I hope.
You were the quarterback. That makes sense. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, okay, so a few things that stood out for me on Monday night that I had noticed that what you were following. I think everybody's talking about John Harbaugh's decision to go for it 4th and 1 from his own 16. And it worked, and it's the greatest decision that ever was because it worked. But as you were watching it in the moment, what was your reaction to it? Was it, this is insane, or this might be where football is, that you have to make these types of decisions now?
Yeah, I think it was actually genius. And obviously there was a huge risk involved, but the reward was pretty big because they just punt. They were kind of playing lackluster, and the Chargers kind of had their own way with them. And for him to flip the momentum going into half, I think it was a necessary move, and it paid off in a big way. Obviously, as it doesn't work, Chargers probably go down and score. They're probably down 21-7, I think it might be. So that could have been catastrophic. However, the reward was quite big because they went down and scored, took a 14-10 lead. The end of the half, I don't understand what they were doing, rushing zero, give them 3 points, but going for it was a smart move. It always is when it works.
No doubt, it always is when it works. The sense that I get is that football teams, the more I talk to players, the more I get the idea that, like, that's who they want to be, and that even if it doesn't work, I feel like it wouldn't lead to, like, a mutiny or anything like that, or, like, guys being like, no, you're insane. It feels like the guys on the sideline are more likely to say, yeah, let's be that team. We want to be the team that does stuff like this, and you wouldn't lose your team over a decision like this, even if it does go the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree. I think in team meetings, you explain to your team, hey, we're going to be aggressive with this approach, and hell, if we don't get it in defense, you come up, sudden change, and step up and hold them to a field goal. That's just the way it is. You got our back, and I think that's what great teams do. They count on each other. Sometimes if it doesn't work, you throw an interception, you don't get the fourth down, then it's up to the defense to get a stop, and vice versa. So, yeah, it's great team football. People rely on each other and cover up some of the misgivings, so to speak, from the other side of the ball. So, yeah, Baltimore can do that. They have the luxury of having a great offensive line running right behind. Linderbaum is a hell of a good thing, and using Mark Andrews, a big body to quarterback sneak, it was pretty smart.
I wonder if there's another step to it, right? Like, obviously it was beneficial within this game. That's clear, but I don't know. Is it? You mentioned they were lethargic to start the game. They were coming off, a lackluster performance in Pittsburgh the week before. Is it possible that something like that could be, I don't want to be too hyperbolic about it, but it can be sort of a galvanizing point within a season, like, right, yeah, maybe a little bit of a wake-up moment, let's go, and that you can build off of it moving forward.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then for the offense to convert, a lot of times you go for it in that situation, still have opportunity to go 3 and out and punt again.
That's true.
But for them to capitalize on that, Lamar to make the big-time throw for the touchdown at the end of the half, that's a great reward. So they rewarded Harbaugh for making that decision. That's for sure. So, yeah, for sure, they can give you momentum going in. And also it just keeps everybody aware, in coming weeks. If we have 4th and 1 or 2, we got to be ready. We got to be on our toes and have a play ready. Offensive coordinator needs to be ready. The quarterback needs to be ready moving forward. And that's a good thing, to be situationally ready in those situations.
Jay Gruden is with us here on GCR. He's with Underdog Fantasy now. Jay, Coach, I feel like once you go for it in that spot, because they went for it twice more in 4th and short spots during the game, is it a case of, like, once you've done it from your own 16, you kind of have to, like, this is who you are, you better be lining up and going for it every time when you're in that spot moving forward?
Yeah, no, I don't think you have to do it every time. I think the situations will arise where sometimes they'll punt, depending on how they're playing defense, or kick a field goal, whatever the score might be. I don't think it's an every time thing, but, I think Harbaugh has a pretty good idea. Their defense wasn't playing very well early, and he figured if he gave the ball right back to him, he had a chance to go in a pretty big hole. So I think the reward was much greater than the risk in that situation, and it might be that way the next week and the next week after that. We'll have to find out, but there will be a time where I'm sure he'll punt or kick a field goal on 4th and 1 or 2.
Coach, one of the things that I think beyond 4th and 1 that was one of the biggest stories on Monday night was the fact that they got down by 10, and unlike what we've seen other times from the Ravens, they stuck it out with Derrick Henry, and you referenced that insane 3rd down run that he had where he just stiff-armed 2 dudes, and these poor guys are just like begging, holding on desperately, hoping to try to do something. But how difficult is it for a team when you fall behind by multiple scores to just say, hey, we can't panic? How difficult is that? How important is it to make sure that you stick with it? And how much of a difference did you feel like that made in their win over the Chargers?
A big difference. A lot of times you get down by 10, you feel like you got to hurry up, get back into it, score quick, and the way to score quick is throwing the football. But the strength of Baltimore's team, they're 1st in the league in rushing, or 1st in the league in total offense, or 2nd in rushing, 3rd in passing, I get it. But using the ability of Lamar's legs, and obviously Derrick Henry, you can't lose sight of the strengths of your football team. And I feel like last year in the playoff game, maybe they did a little bit, not use their running game quite as much as they probably would have liked to have. But this is the strength of their team. They're a physical football team, and they can pound it. And Lamar can keep it. Derrick and even Justice Hill had a big run yesterday.
Yep.
So they've got to stay balanced. And they're doing a great job in all facets of their offense. They're first in the league in total offense, for God's sake. So there's really nothing to fault about what they're doing and what Coach Monken's calling.
You referenced a minute ago that, what happened defensively going into the half, and that wasn't great. But in general, in the last 2 weeks, they didn't allow a touchdown against the Steelers while they lost the game. That still was a step forward for a team that had been, the worst in the NFL in pass defense. And then, this week it ends up being 23 points, but 7 of them came at the end when they were clearly playing a softer defense. Is there reason to be encouraged about the direction of this team? Tre'Davious White looks like way more significant than anyone thought that was going to be when they acquired him at the deadline. They've gone away from Marcus Williams. They got rid of Eddie Jackson altogether, and Ardarius Washington stepped up. Do you feel like there might be reason to be encouraged, particularly given that they played on Monday night without Roquan Smith?
Yeah, there's some encouragement there. They were also blessed with about 3 drops by that wide receiver.
Yeah, Quentin Johnston.
So
yeah.
I don't think I don't think many of these receivers are going to play in the future. Are going to drop shallow crosses right in their hands for 40-yard gains. But yeah, for sure, they just got to get some confidence and continue to get the pass rush. Van Noy's got 8 sacks. He's doing a good job. So they just got to figure out ways to manufacture a pass rush and help these DBs out, and vice versa. DBs got to help the pass rush so they can cover a little bit longer to let Matabuke and all these guys get home.
Oh, to your point, I agree with you. I guess the bar was so low, right, for the worst pass defense in the NFL that you don't need them to be the best. You just sort of need them to not be god-awful, right, to, help out a little bit. And I guess that's what I'm measuring this by, is not that I suddenly think they're an outstanding defense, but just that they're like maybe we don't see what we've seen in the 2 matchups, say, against the Bengals every week out moving forward.
Yeah, well, the Bengals are blistering everybody with their pass offense. That's a tough team to stop with Burrow and Chase and Higgins. But you're right. They definitely have. It's really uncharacteristic of a Baltimore Raven defense to be 31st in the league in anything. I just never would ever expect that from that franchise. That's not how they're built. They're built on being the first or second in the league in pass defense and rush defense. They're playing the run pretty good, but you're right. I think adding Tre'Davious White will help. I think the rookie's starting to play a little bit better, Wiggins.
Yep.
They just got to get some confidence and get some continuity back there, and they'll be fine.
Coach, what did you make of them not even bringing in competition or putting a kicker on the practice squad or anything like that, as Justin Tucker had been struggling? I know, he only made 1 kick this week, so I don't know that we all of a sudden say he's definitively fixed. But what did you make of the Ravens' strategy to say, look, this is Justin Tucker. We kind of don't care. We're gonna continue to give him grace and have faith that he will get this thing figured out?
I think it's a smart move because there's nobody on this planet that would rather have kick a game-winning field goal in the playoffs than Justin Tucker. I know he's got ice water in his veins. He's missed a few kicks. I get it, but you want him on your team. You need him on your team.
Yeah.
He's a great weapon. He's been there, been consistent his whole career, and let's live through a couple of his bad kicks. He's allowed to have a couple bad kicks.
Deep down in places we don't talk about. Yeah, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. I completely get it, Coach.
Exactly.
I completely get it. All right, so we referenced the defense. This week it's Philadelphia coming into Baltimore. No rest for the weary, as the Ravens have one more game before they finally get to their bye. The Eagles seem to be playing on a different level at the moment, and what Saquon Barkley is doing is absolutely insane. I still feel like, you've got Lamar Jackson, you got a great chance, and he tends to carve up NFC teams. But what do you make of this matchup against Philadelphia on Sunday?
Well, hopefully Roquan plays. They're going to need him because they're going to use Lamar and Jalen Hurts relentlessly and then play single high safety. And we'll see how you guys like Tre'Davious White and Wiggins out on the outside against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith one-on-one matchup. So this is going to be this is really going to be important for Baltimore to be able to stop the run somehow with a light box from time to time because they can't always load up and leave them corners out there one-on-one against those receivers and the way Jalen's throwing it. So it's pick your poison against Philadelphia right now. They can do everything equally as good, very similar to what Baltimore's doing offensively. Philadelphia's first in rushing, Baltimore's second. I think I don't know where Philly is in passing, but Baltimore's third. So this has the makings to be an offensive shootout, very similar to when they played Cincinnati and it was 41-38. So for 35-34 both games, I expect this to be a pretty high-scoring game. I don't think Baltimore's cured their defense yet. I think they're going to have a few more hiccups in the road before the playoffs start. I expect this to be a shootout.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And you obviously add in the fact that, Saquon also catches the ball, and you gotta keep your eye on Jalen Hurts running. Yeah, it's a nightmare matchup. There's no doubt about it. All right, Coach, the important question, what is the 1 seed for you on the Thanksgiving plate tomorrow? What's the thing that you'll go back for 3 times?
I'm a big stuffing guy. I love stuffing.
What kind? Is it oyster stuffing?
Yeah.
Is it like sausage stuffing? What is the go-to stuffing for you?
Yeah, sausage.
Okay.
Sausage,
all right,
for sure.
That's the play.
Onions and green peppers and onions. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
got to do it.
That's
twice.
That's outstanding.
Mixed with corn and some potatoes and
All right.
I'm starving now. You got me hungry.
We only got 1 day to wait, Coach. We're good. What can we plug for you? Can you remind everybody about the show? What you're doing with Underdog?
Yeah, I'm on. We have a YouTube channel called Clean Pocket. Myself, Colt McCoy, AQ Shipley, and Justin Pugh. We have some shorts in there, and we do like an hour show once a week. Kind of fun to watch. And then Underdog Fantasy. I pick some picks on there. If you guys want to play some higher, lower player props, it's pretty fun.
And, of course, on Twitter, at Coach_Jay Gruden as well. Coach, happy Thanksgiving to you, sir. Thank you, as always, taking the time for us. Look forward to chatting again real soon, all right?
All right, Glenn. Thank you, man.
It's Jay Gruden with us here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time for us. Proctor, yeah, the raisins belong in stuffing. Although, as I've said before, the 1 seed, my point about raisins is not really about raisins. I fight for raisins because I enjoy raisins, and those of you that knock raisins, get the F out. Which, of course, does not mean that raisins should be like in a potato salad. Then you have a problem. But the people that just fight about raisins in general, you're wrong. Raisins are excellent. And my point about stuffing is far bigger, which is y'all are out here serving dry-ass plain stuffings. Offer nothing to society. Now a good oyster stuffing, a sausage stuffing. Trey Thomas brought up like a cornbread stuffing. My cousin makes a delicious pineapple stuffing. It's outstanding. My point is just about these plain, dry, awful stuffings that offer nothing to society. Raisins improve a stuffing. Nice, whatever it is that you're doing. Yes, I'll fight for raisins eternally, but it's really about fighting against your boring-ass stuffing, which should just be the bowl should just be tossed in the trash can and move on with your day. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. When we come back in, we will make picks for the week. Yes, it's a Wednesday, but we're not going to be here tomorrow or Friday, so let's go ahead and get into it. KZ joins us on the other side. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Brace yourselves for an unparalleled in-person betting experience at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook and Bars in Canton and Towson. Experience the thrill of live betting with Baltimore's only state-of-the-art Vegas viewing TV experience. Choose between their on-site tellers or the convenience of their self-bet kiosks to place your bets. And now stop by the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton every Wednesday for a free $10 bet. Just show up, sign up, and get your $10 bet for free. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Go to mdgamblinghelp.org.
Hey, Baltimore, it's number 10, Arthur Millette, and I'm hoping you'll slot us in all season long for the Arthur Millette Show. We will be traveling around the region all season, giving you the chance to get to know me and my teammates. There will be some football talk and a lot more. You can watch this show live on PressBox's Facebook and YouTube pages and listen every Friday night on 105.7 The Fan. Find out more at PressBoxOnline.com/Millette. The Arthur Millette Show, the only show in town that's a work of art.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Visit Harford County this holiday season for a brand new event. You'll feel like you stepped into a holiday movie. Harford Holidays is overflowing with the spirit of the holiday season. You'll be amazed by the jaw-dropping light displays, thrilled by a visit to Santa's workshop, and have the holiday time of your life with sleigh rides, a special vendor village, s'mores making stations, and so much more. It's a holiday light experience, new at Ripken Stadium, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, December 6th through December 22nd. For ticket information, head to visitharford.com. You'll have the happiest holiday season ever.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
Hey, two things I didn't mention when we were talking about Blake Snell earlier. Mark Feinsand reported that the Orioles were in on Blake Snell, so you got that going for you. How about that, right? Like, that's going to make you
hang the banner
feel
in on Blake Snell.
Anyway. This morning, John Morosi reported the Orioles and Braves are among the teams with interest in free agent Nathan Eovaldi. So, got that going for you, too. Cool. Interest season. Feeling it. Not coming to Baltimore will be Daniel Jones. We mentioned that drum was being banged this week, but Daniel Jones has found a home. He heads to Minnesota. What is that? I don't even know what that is.
It was the Joe Biden thing where it was like,
oh, was it? I don't know. But I remember
Minnesota! He just yells Minnesota.
All right, well,
maybe it was AI. I don't know, but it was funny.
Okay, I'll go with it. At least it's not yelling mustard. Glad we've been doing that. That hasn't already worn out. I like the Kendrick record too, guys, but I got to be honest, I'm somehow already worn out by mustard, and it's only taken 4 days, something like that. Everything on the mustard. Okay, I got it. We all heard it too. Over that one. Anyway, moral of the story being Daniel Jones goes to Minnesota, and I'm not bothered by it by any stretch of the imagination because, as I said before, is Daniel Jones better than Josh Johnson? Yes, probably. Do I have any confidence at all that if you're playing a game that matters that Daniel Jones can win it? Not even a little bit. Not in the slightest. So, yes, like I get why some people were maybe interested in it, but it's just not doing a whole lot for me. Project Game Day returns this Sunday immediately following Ravens-Eagles. Come hang out with us, PressBoxOnline.com/GameDay. Myself, Rita, Femi, maybe Andrew Steck will be back. Hopefully Josh Charles will be hanging out with us again. Griffin's been over. And this man, he is our buddy Ken Zalis, and he is with us right here on GCR. What's going on, pal? How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. What's the one seed for you on the Thanksgiving plate?
It's turkey.
The turkey itself is the 1 seed. You, are you in charge of the turkey?
When it's at my house, yes. It's not at my house.
Not
this
at your
year,
house this year. Okay.
But when it is at my house, yes, I enjoy and am in charge of the turkey.
So this is interesting to me. I have been in charge of the turkey for our Friendsgivings the last few years. And I've been nailing it, just for the record. I've been killing it on I go heavy on the Cajun butter, both injecting and basting. It's incredible. To me, the biggest thing for me about making a turkey is I want it to be moist. Like, I just don't. The only complaint that I'm going to have about a turkey is when it's dry, because.
Well, but it depends it's all about when you serve it.
That's true.
You gotta let it rest for a half hour.
100% also accurate. This year, I'm in charge of the family Thanksgiving turkey, and I am attempting to smoke it. And we will see how this goes. I've never done it before. I'm a bit nervous. It's a 14-pound bird. I am told to be prepared that it could take as long as 7 hours to smoke today. So I'm
yeah.
and I've never done it before.
Luck to you.
So like I don't know how frequently to like, should I put more rub on it 2 hours in? Like, no, I really wish there was just like a game plan here that somebody could say, hey, here's how you're gonna nail it. I'm just winging it. Just figuring it out. We'll see how it goes, and if Thanksgiving is ruined, then
I believe in you. I bet you can do it.
Man, I'd smoke some wings on Sunday, almost like as a practice run.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same.
Yeah, not remotely. Not remotely.
All
right.
By the way, raisins don't belong in food. At all.
You're just wrong. I don't know how to tell you.
They don't belong in any food whatsoever. They don't belong in bread.
You're the type
trail mix is one of the best snacks.
But that's not in food.
That's not
food.
That's
part of it. No. You're wrong about two things. First of all, I don't eat bread anymore. But like raisin bread was delicious. You're wrong. I mean, God love you. And then number two, you're also the type. This doesn't surprise me about you at all. You're also the type of low-level thinker that believes that chocolate chip cookies are better than oatmeal raisin cookies, and you're just showing your ass. That's all you're doing in the process.
I like the combination of the two personally.
Wait, a chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin cookie somehow combined?
A chocolate chip oatmeal cookie.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but it's not as good as just an oatmeal raisin cookie, which is perfection. And again, I'm not surprised. I'm just not surprised that you're wrong.
Raisins are always better at their natural state.
You're
and
wrong.
when they're stopped into wine.
I need you to know that I will defend to my death your right to be wrong.
I know you are.
I will defend to the death your right to be so terribly wrong.
They have to make 2 different types of kugels around the high holidays for me because everybody likes the ones with raisins, and I will not eat it.
Psychopath.
So there's a good 10-minute video on YouTube, it looks like, about smoking turkeys.
Is it?
How to BBQ right.
But I need it specifically
got 500,000 views.
I need it for a smoke vault smoker. It can't be for a pellet grill or something like that. I need it. That's part of the problem here that I've been struggling with.
Pellet grill.
Yeah, that's the issue. All right, let's get into it. It's time for picks. We're doing it on Wednesday this week, which is worse because God knows we have no idea who's playing in these football games. But it's what it is because I'm not doing a show either the next 2 days. Sorry. It's just not happening. Right now, coming into the week, KZ creeping up on Ryan Shell at the top of the table. He made up 3 games last week to get back within 2 for the season. And at the bottom of the table, I'm still in last place, but I didn't lose any more ground. Still just a game behind Paul Valley. The bad news for Andrew Stecca is he made up 2 more games on me last week. So getting out of that range where he could avoid losing spectacularly and then be allowed to quit the league. That's the problem from Andrew Stecca. You're going to have to be a lot worse to get into that range, pal. Got to be a lot worse than what you've been. We picked 3 college games, 6 NFL games, although we only have 2 weeks left to pick 3 college games. Which is, I guess bowl season we'll be picking. Yeah, and there's playoffs this year. You know what? Take it all back. Take it all back. We'll have plenty more weeks.
You got a couple extra weeks.
That's right. At the top of the table, playing for a little bit of cash. At the bottom of the table, playing to try to avoid being the one who's got to come in here and do all the Brazilian stuff. Get a Brazilian, get their ass kicked by John Rollo, eat a sardine fruitcake, and sing some Brazil-related songs. That's the punishment at the bottom of the table. Griffin, where do we start this week?
We are starting in where the hub of college football this weekend, of course, Happy Valley, where Penn State is. I guess are they going to be in no matter what? Like even if they were to somehow
if they were to lose to Maryland, they've got to be out. There's just no way. I mean, not just of the playoff. I mean, like of college football.
I mean, they've got the easiest.
Should be banished.
They've got the easiest path, I guess, to the playoff. I mean, like
you would think.
You just gotta. They're laying 24.5 against.
They don't have to worry about playing in a championship game, right?
Like they just got to come out of this Saturday healthy.
What's the number?
24.5.
That's insanity. What world are we living in?
Game's at 3:30, by the way, on Big Ten Network.
Penn State. I mean, what am I supposed to do with this?
You know, I'm never mind. Penn State.
Yeah. What do we do?
I mean,
I get, like it's actually reckless. It's reckless to be picking anybody with a 24.5 point spread.
It is not. It is not. I think 39.5 would maybe be my limit.
No, this is the crazy part, right? Like Penn State's really not that good. Like they
haven't played a soul.
They're not. They're not that good. It won't, and truth be told, they're not like an explosive offense of any sort. So, I don't know. I haven't looked at what the weather is going to be in Happy Valley on Saturday.
It's going to be cold.
Probably the case. That's probably true.
Maryland doesn't want to play football.
They did score 49 points against Purdue, so I'll give them that. The problem that I was going to say is, like, they haven't had many games where they even had an opportunity to have a 24.5 point spread. They've had they've only won by 1 against Minnesota. I don't care. It's still Penn State.
We do have a lone wolf, one backer of the Maryland Terrapins.
Is it Jeremy Kahn?
It is not Jeremy Kahn. Ryan Shell is lone wolfing.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. He does have 20. He does have 24.5 points to play with.
He does. Then we will go back to the noon slate. This is at noon on ESPN, and definitely college football playoff implications here as the number 15 ranked, newly ranked South Carolina Gamecocks take on the number 12 ranked Clemson Tigers. And Clemson, they are laying 2.5. They're 2.5 point favorites.
Was Clemson like 9th in the football playoff rankings that were released last night?
No, they were 12. Were they the 9th seed like somehow?
I think so. I think there was something.
Does that
like
mean they're projecting them as like the ACC?
Hang on a second. No,
they're
still
12th.
Miami.
They're 12th. Like in the ranking wise, they're 12th. Like
I thought Alabama was the first team out in the.
Because Boise's 11th, so
right.
So Alabama at 13 is the first team out.
No. There's a team that's not. Arizona State is in the.
You know, the NCAA has figured out a way how to screw up rankings.
Oh, I know. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It really is.
I mean, the rankings don't mean anything because there's seeding involved.
Well, and that's the nonsense of it. The nonsense of it.
Did I get it wrong? What's Clemson ranked? And I swear, I remember watching it like live.
Ridiculous.
Like I've never watched the show live, but I have basketball.
Oh, because it was between the basketball.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I was like getting ready to send this, so I was like, all right. As soon as I see the team, I was just going to.
Clemson would be the first. I guess they're ranked 12th.
So they are.
But they would be the first team out because Arizona State would take their spot.
The Big 12 champion.
Right, because 5 conference champions are guaranteed to get in, which is the absurdity.
So making them ranked 12th is stupid.
Yeah, Ken.
Should they should just rank 12 teams, I guess, now?
It's just right. Just the 12 teams that are in.
Right. Like you have to I don't whatever. The moral of the story being
somehow something we all wanted, they still managed to screw it up.
The Clemson right now would be in position to try to get a spot should one of these teams falter this weekend.
Well, this is an elimination game basically.
Yes. I don't know if there's a path for South Carolina. Right? I mean, like South Carolina would need.
I think there is one.
Would they? I guess they would need. They would need multiple things to happen in order for that to be
correct.
The case. Moral of the story.
Who's on this? Tennessee.
Texas beats Texas A&M. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. If Tennessee loses, I guess.
I don't trust either of these teams at all. So this really is just a 1, who's at home, 2, what's the spread. It's a home team by less than 3 points in a game where I don't trust either of the teams. I'll take Clemson.
Yeah, with all apologies to our good friend Mr. Rob Long.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with what you said. I don't trust either of these teams. You talk about a team that hasn't played anybody all year. That's the Clemson Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
And every year that we want to think that South Carolina is what they were projected preseason to be, they always let you down in a big game. And it's less than 3 points. I'll take the home team. I'll take Clemson.
Interesting. There, so the percentage was like if or South Carolina right now still has a 20% chance to make the playoff. I guess that's just like factoring everyone ahead of them potentially losing.
Right, there's got to be multiple teams. Like their losses aren't bad. Their losses are to LSU, Ole Miss, and Alabama. But like their best win is Texas A&M. Good, but
yeah. And I mean, yeah, they've definitely played a more legitimate schedule than Clemson. Like Clemson, I mean, has not, as KZ just said, has not played anyone. And also, how much does this game matter for Clemson? Because they don't control their own destiny to the ACC. If Miami wins, they're in the ACC championship. If Miami loses, Clemson's in the ACC championship. So Clemson,
I don't think that's true.
I'm pretty sure that is. They need a Miami loss to get to. They're in the ACC championship.
I thought
at least that's what I read last
night. Had the control, but whatever.
No, well, because Clemson doesn't. This is an ACC game, so they do not have control on at least on Saturday. I don't know. Clemson hasn't been as impressive. They lost to Louisville. They got blown out by Georgia, and
yes, Clemson. But Griffin's right. Clemson's in if Miami loses.
Right.
Miami's in if they win. To the point, though.
Oh, I didn't think it was that kind of.
No, Miami wins, they're in. Clemson is in if Miami loses, no matter what they do in this game. But to the point of suggesting that, like, this is Clemson, South Carolina. When you say things like that,
I understand.
like how much do they really care? You're just showing your ass a little bit. Like
I'm talking about the college football playoff and like how this it doesn't there's no Clemson implications in the game.
Well, no, if they lose this game, they're out of college football playoff consideration. What are you talking about?
If they lose, if they can win the ACC championship and be in.
They could 100%, but they might not be in the ACC championship game.
Yeah, I know they don't control anything.
No, they control any path to getting into the college football playoff. Has to involve them winning this game. If they lose this game,
no, it doesn't. They could lose.
What are you talking about?
No, Glenn.
Because if Miami loses to Syracuse, Clemson's in the ACC championship.
If Clemson, if Miami,
they could have a backdoor. You're saying, but
right,
like thinking that that's going to have any implication on this game. Yeah, that there could be some backup plan for them to get in. Is nuts. Like that's
picking South Carolina. That's anyway. That's me picking South Carolina. I really want to say
that's fine. I just have no idea what you really want to say.
Go Cox, and so go Cox. I'm taking South Carolina. I don't trust Clemson. I don't trust Clemson. I am not alone on the Gamecocks. Paul Valley is on South Carolina, as is James Revere and Andrew Stecca on South Carolina.
Andrew Stecca, a man who loves Cox. That is true. Everybody knows that.
We are the 4 on South Carolina. Then to College Game Day. College Game Day is in College Station, right?
Yes.
Okay. They are now number 20 ranked, Texas A&M, and they are hosting the number 3 ranked Texas Longhorns. And Texas, they are laying 5.5 points Saturday night.
Man, I hate this one because this is the other bit you're doing where you're like, "What? Do we really know if Texas is any good or not?" And this is the game of the century of your lives, and it feels like in a scenario like that, you kind of want to play with the 5.5 points and say, what's the real likelihood that this game's going to be a blowout one way or the other? But I don't know. I think I'm just going to choose to believe in Texas, and I'm going to take Texas.
One of my rules this year, Texas and Tennessee, so I'm taking Texas.
Yeah, this I don't know. The last time they played was 2011. Justin Tucker hit a game-winning field goal for the Longhorns. This is 5.5 is obviously more than 3 points, but
that would be a cover.
I don't know. My gut does say Texas wins the game. 5.5 is a lot, but I'm gonna lay it because I think Texas wins. So I will take the Longhorns as well. And most of us are taking the Aggies to go 0-2 on College Game Day. Although Jeremy Kahn will be taking the points, as will John Proctor.
All right,
taking the 5.5 with A&M. Then to the Thanksgiving Day games, or I guess game, the only one that we're picking. Miami is going to Green Bay on tomorrow night. 8:20 kick on NBC, and Green Bay 3.5-point favorites.
This is where I'm a mark, right? Like I am absolutely a mark because when I see 3.5, I say to myself, Miami's pretty good. They've been playing good football recently. They're a much different team, and I end up taking Miami because I'm a mark, and I should know better because there's no real difference in Green Bay winning. What's the likelihood it's going to come down to like a last-second kick, and that's going to get me the cover? There's no real difference in Green Bay winning by 4, winning by 3, but somehow that hook is enough to make me say, give me Miami. And I'm gonna regret it, and I'm gonna be getting kicked in the head by John Rollo because of it. But I'm a mark.
We're doing head kicks?
I don't know. Whatever. Miami.
You know what the temperature is supposed to be at Green Bay?
I think it's going to be like 27 degrees.
And they never win. I know.
Down.
I'm aware. They never win in the cold. I understand.
There's no. I don't. No. Green Bay's going to win this game.
Yeah.
Cover handily.
I agree with that. Like, I don't understand. The line seems off. Like, that's like the fact that we're forgetting the game is in Green Bay and that the Dolphins don't win in cold weather games. So that means they probably will just win this game outright. But I'm going to go down with the ship. I'm going to take the Packers here. Glenn, you are on the Dolphins. Jeremy Kahn is on the Dolphins. John Proctor is on the Miami Dolphins, as is Paul Valley and Ryan Shell on the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, there we go.
You got that going for you.
That does
By
seem
Thursday
good.
night, we could have a new leader.
That's true. Wait.
Oh, you mean because Ken is going against Ryan?
Yeah, but that's only a 1-game difference. He's down by 10.
Penn State.
We've picked two.
But by Thursday night, you won't know the result of the Penn State game. So that is incorrect.
We know the result.
That is incorrect.
We know the result.
The Steelers are going to Cincinnati. This is a Sunday at 1 on CBS.
But you see, there could be a backdoor into the championship game, and that's why
for Maryland, they could wipe out every other team in NCAA.
No idea what the point was that you were
They
making.
very much, whatever.
This game means everything. God, go ahead.
Does it? Every other game. Did the Louisville game mean nothing to them? And the
Probably.
Georgia game meant
Just
nothing?
kick the game.
Bengals are laying 3 points. They're 3-point favorites against the Steelers.
What the hell do you do with that? Like, this is the game that you were begging for the Steelers to be favored because, like, you genuinely think that the Bengals are better. But if this game were in Pittsburgh, I do still to this day believe the Bengals are better than the Steelers. What's the likelihood of the Steelers losing back-to-back games? They have a deal with the devil, man. Bengals are coming off the bye. God, I hate this. Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals as well. The Steelers' offense is a problem. I know that it was the start of the Ravens playing good defense, but they're just not impressive to me offensively. If you can stop the run, which is a problem for the Cincinnati Bengals, is stopping the run. But now or never with Cincinnati, have your golf clubs in the locker room in case you drop this game. I'll take Cincinnati.
The line does seem off. Like I was very confused when I first saw it. I don't know why why the sports books keep giving us points with the Steelers. To me, it's a no-brainer with the Steelers getting points. I'm gonna almost take the Steelers. I feel like every time, so I'm gonna stick with the Steelers here. And I think actually most of us are, most of us are on the Steelers. Glenn, you are on the Bengals. Ken is on the Bengals. Paul Valley is on the Cincinnati Bengals. John Proctor, as is Joe Serpico.
Not the A team, unfortunately. Not the A team.
You got Ken, I guess.
Yeah, that's the one, and that's everybody at the bottom.
Then also at 1 o'clock on Sunday, the LA Chargers will be trying to make up for Monday night's loss. They're going to Atlanta. The Chargers are laying 1.5 points. They're 1.5 point favorites.
Damn, man. I don't know what to do with this one either. It's a 1 o'clock game?
It is.
But I feel like that's almost been nullified this year, right? The Seahawks came across at 1 o'clock. The Raiders came across and beat the Ravens at 1 o'clock. Like, I don't know what to do with that. Obviously we know J.K. Dobbins is going to be out for a couple of weeks. So I do think that's a factor. I guess I'm going to, again, it's asking to have faith in one of these teams, and that's just a difficult thing to do. But with the number being so small, take the Falcons.
I will never take the Atlanta Falcons to cover anything ever again after the last debacle.
Oh, I get it.
I won't trust them. Do I expect Quinn Johnson to drop every ball that's thrown to him?
Why wouldn't you?
Again this week? Probably not.
Really? Why not?
I literally needed him to catch one ball for me to win a fantasy league.
That's too
he
bad.
got 0.
That's just too bad.
It's just too bad.
That's just too bad.
Yeah. I'm going to take Chargers.
If only there was any way to see that Quentin Johnston was a risk of dropping the football. If there was only any way that we might know.
If only. If only.
Yeah, I mean the Falcons coming off a bye, but like I think the Chargers are definitely the better team. They're gonna be without J.K. Dobbins. Even without Dobbins, I was kind of leaning the Chargers, even though it's the West Coast to East Coast thing. But then again, I came back to. I mean, the Falcons have to be desperate at this point. They haven't won a game in like 4 weeks because of the bye. They lost 2 in a row heading into the bye. And yeah, they're at home, only getting 1.5, but they are home underdogs. So I will. I'm gonna go back to the Falcons. I don't feel fantastic about it, but I'm gonna take the Falcons since they're at home here. Glenn and I on Atlanta. James Revere and Jeremy Kahn joining us on the Falcons. We are the 4. We're the minority there, taking the Atlanta Falcons. Then sticking in that 1 p.m. window, the Arizona Cardinals are going to Minnesota. Vikings are 3.5-point favorites.
Just when I started to buy into the Cardinals. Just when I started to believe. Vikings.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Cardinals fooled me this year because I had, until last time we picked them, I had done well with them. They had been playing well, and whatever that was, especially offensively, it was just awful. And the Vikings are the one team that everybody seems to want to overlook quietly. If you can be quietly 9-2, they're quietly 9-2, but they're a good football team. I'll take the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love this game. I don't really trust either team. The Cardinals had been good to me. So I didn't have a problem picking them last week against Seattle. But now I think the bloom is off the rose on the Cardinals. So yeah, I will take the Vikings here. We are largely on the Minnesota Vikings. Kyle Ottenheimer will be taking the Arizona Cardinals. He is joined by Jeremy Kahn.
Well, it's 3.5 points. I get it.
Yeah.
And the Sunday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills will be hosting the San Francisco 49ers, and the Bills are 6.5-point
What's
favorites.
the deal with Purdy?
I don't know. Ken, do you know anything?
Expected to play.
Okay.
What about the others? What about Bosa and Williams?
Bosa was
have not seen on those two.
What Bosa do they have? They have Nick.
Nick Bosa is who they have. Nick Bosa. I'm not really seeing anything on Nick Bosa. Good. If you search Nick Bosa on Twitter, you get nothing but Donald Trump. That's
great.
Very helpful. We live in a great place, man. Like, this is...
Well, I was curious what his stance was, so...
Yeah, right. Yeah, like you didn't know. I'm so sure you didn't know.
It tipped the whole thing.
Yeah, that was the moment, you think? That was the moment. And if I search Trent Williams, for some reason I've got Dalton Connect is the first thing. What is Twitter?
Dalton Connect.
You know what? That's it. I'm moving everything to blue sky.
Trent,
what is it?
Because he's in a list with Robert Williams and Gary Trent Jr.
I got nothing. I got nothing on what Twitter is supposed to be anymore. Oh, God. If those guys play, like, I kind of like the idea of the 49ers getting points. But if they don't, then we saw what happened. I don't know. Even Brock Purdy is enough. I'll take the 49ers. I like the Bills, but I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves in Bills are monsters and unstoppable, knowing that, they got their asses handed to them by the Ravens a few weeks back. Yes, they beat the Chiefs. That's a very good win. Nobody's debating that. But I think we're getting a little carried away. The 49ers, if they have their players, should not be getting that many points. So give me the 49ers.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
I mean, this is tough to do on a Wednesday, and it is what it is. But something's been wrong with the 49ers even when they all did play. Like, the offense, McCaffrey hasn't been McCaffrey. The usage has been weird since he came back. They missed that big play, with guy with Ayuk. Pearsall looked like he was going to be a thing, and he disappeared last week, as most of them did.
Brandon Allen was their quarterback.
I agree with you on the Bills. I understand that. I understand it, but I'm going back to the week before and the week before that. Something's missing there for me with San Francisco this year. It's been all year. Just something hasn't seemed right with them. I'm gonna go the Bills. What's it 6.5?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They win by a touchdown. I'll go with the Bills. I agree with your point. We're getting carried away. America's getting carried away with the whole Bills thing, but I just don't trust the 49ers right now.
Yeah, I could echo everything that Ken said. Like, even when the 49ers are healthy, they just have not really looked like, the San Francisco 49ers that we're used to. It does seem like Purdy is trending towards playing. They're also saying, I'm not sure how much it's going to matter, since the 49ers can run the ball well if they need to, or if they decide to, I guess. Especially if Trent Williams is playing. But I think they're saying it's going to be a snow game on Sunday night potentially. It's going to snow all weekend in Buffalo. So maybe we'll get some.
So it's a weekend, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's like any other weekend in Buffalo. Yeah.
I guess that's true. The Bills. I mean, they're I don't know. I can't pick against the Bills right now. They're at home, even though they're laying a touchdown. I will take Buffalo. Did you say Bills as well, Glenn? You did.
I said 49ers.
Oh, you said 49ers.
Where are you?
I was trying to find out if these guys were playing.
Okay.
So I wasn't.
What's
listening.
everybody else doing? We gotta.
You're on the 49ers. Jeremy is joining you on the 49ers. Paul Valley on the San Francisco 49ers as well. We're the three.
Boy.
Philly.
Today's our moment.
Eagles at the Ravens. Ravens are 3-point favorites.
What the hell? I don't know what to do here. The Eagles are absolutely playing better football at the moment. But this is like asking me to bet the Chiefs to cover a big spread. All Lamar Jackson does is carve up the NFC. Carve them up. And the line's only 3. From a football standpoint, I like the Eagles. From it feels like you're playing with reality standpoint. Like, how do you argue with 23-1? What do you do with that? Ravens.
I can't say it any differently, because football-wise, 53-53. I love everything that's going on with the Eagles right now. I could give you 7 reasons why I prefer their football team right now to the Ravens football team. But Lamar doesn't lose to the NFC.
Right.
And it's only a 3-point. So that's all it is for me. I mean, until he faces Daniel Jones again in the Super Bowl as he quarterbacks the Minnesota Vikings, you gotta go with Lamar versus the NFC, and it's as simple as that for me.
I think Jay Gruden had a pretty good analysis. It feels like it's definitely got, a Bengals-like game feel to it, where it's going to be 35-34, something like that. The Eagles have won 7 in a row. Yeah, hopefully Roquan's back. Like, there's so much, that we don't know about with the Ravens, I guess, without Roquan, and how they're going to be able to stop an offense like the Eagles. But yeah, the Ravens still have Lamar Jackson, and even if the game is 70, it played into the 70s, I'm gonna favor the Ravens in that case. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Ravens here as well, laying 3 points against an NFC team with Lamar. Joe Serpico is of course on his Philadelphia Eagles. He's not alone, though. Ryan Shell will be taking the Eagles, as will John and Little Rock. They are the 3 on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Very good. Ken, quick, would you rather, because Drew's not here today, would you rather the Ravens commit right now to being the team that goes for it on 4th and 1 every time, no matter what the circumstances are, or I actually know how you're going to answer it because I was with you, or that was fun and all, but they never go for it inside their own 40 again unless the game is literally on the line?
Inside their 40?
Mm-hmm. Either they go for it every time no matter what, or they don't go for it inside their own. So, like, if they're on their own 37, they wouldn't go for it.
Because you put it at the 40, I have to go the other way.
Okay, what would your line be?
Go for it every time.
All right, listen to you. Listen to you. This is the man that was furious about them going
because
for it
you said I wasn't furious. Anyway.
Number 2, would you rather?
Is that the only one?
No, you're a Cowboys fan. Again, from their perspective, would you rather your head coach next year be Deion Sanders or Todd Monken?
Deion Sanders.
Why?
Why? Because
Yeah.
hopefully he brings his son with him, and
It doesn't.
works all that out. And how much fun would that be?
Fun.
I mean, we're gonna lose. Let's have some fun.
But that's the point. I don't think that I would want to be making decisions based on the idea of losing.
I don't think Todd Monken is an NFL head coach material. How's that?
You're doing Thanksgiving at your cousin's house. Dinner is just turkey and sauerkraut, or dinner is tofurkey.
Is that a thing?
Yes, of course it's a thing. But all the sides are otherwise what you would want them to be.
I can't do the tofurkey.
Yeah, you just said you were a turkey man. You did say you were a turkey man. All right, very good.
I can't do it, and I hate sauerkraut.
I actually used to hate sauerkraut vociferously, but now I'm a sauerkraut. Doesn't mean that's what I would want, but like on New Year's Day we do sauerkraut in my family, pork and sauerkraut.
Put some raisins in it. Have a ball.
Would you calm down? All right, happy Thanksgiving. Talk to you on Sunday. Have
a good holiday, guys.
It's Ken Zalis with us here on GCR. Yeah, I used to. There's. I don't think there's anything in my life that I've changed my opinion about more than my opinion about sauerkraut. I was disgusted by it. Now, oh boy, you don't want to be my poor wife who has to sleep in the same bed as I do on
I've
New
always
Year's
loved
Day.
sauerkraut.
Yeah, I hated it. I hated everything about it. And then when I was a kid, my grandmother would always force me to. It was like, you're gonna have bad luck. It was like some sort of tradition thing that you had to have pork and sauerkraut on New Year's Day. And so I was like, all right, Granny, I'll have. We called her Nanny actually. All right, Nanny, I'll have a bite, and I would have one bite, and I would, Now I go back for thirds.
Yeah, my brother and sister didn't like it either, so I was like, oh, perfect. I can
you get
eat
all
it all
theirs,
now,
yeah,
and when it was left over, I don't have to worry about anybody eating the leftovers either. I can just.
I don't know. I don't think I've even attempted leftover sauerkraut. We've never had it in our house. My wife does not care for sauerkraut. This is just whoever's house we go to for New Year's Day. That's when I enjoy sauerkraut for the year. That's my sauerkraut consumption for the next 365 days. But I tell you, I make the most of it anymore because I'm all in. Yeah, those are the Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios. They're up at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. I had to do a little bit on the fly because there was one originally that had Daniel Jones in it, but then he signed with the Vikings.
What it was going to be?
It was going to be either the Ravens sign Daniel Jones today or sign Daniel Jones, cut Josh Johnson, or they leave things as they are with a promise from Ryan Tannehill that if one of their quarterbacks gets hurt, he'll sign with them.
Oh. Well, probably have to go with Tannehill option, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I was leaning that way with the flip side being you don't know, because
if the 49, if something happens to the 49, if this Purdy thing's legit, then does Tannehill
No.
change his mind?
But ahead of time?
He's locked into.
No, I think he'd be locked in. I think the question is, do you know how game ready he is? Do you know how that's the one thing that you would give to Daniel Jones' favor is that he played a football game 2 weeks ago, whereas Ryan Tannehill hasn't played a football game in a good amount of time. So that was the one mitigating factor because I like the idea of leave it alone, right? Just leave it alone. Don't mess with it. Whatever we feel about Josh Johnson, are there guys in the locker room that would be bugged if, you took someone out of the equation that didn't do anything wrong? Would that rub somebody in the locker room the wrong?
Cut in this situation.
That was why, he had to get cut.
Yeah, that is tough. But I don't know. I think I lean towards Tannehill. And
all right.
That'd be an interesting circumstance.
Number one, every time on 4th and 1, or never on 4th and 1 inside your own 40.
So they would go for it inside our own 40 on 4th and 1. You're saying, or they would never.
In scenario 1, they always go for it on 4th and 1, no matter what the scenario is.
You're 1 yard line, and
the other scenario, if they're on their own 39 or in, they don't go for it on 4th and 1 unless the game is on. It's the final drive of the game, and they have to.
Yeah, I would rather go for it every single time.
All right.
I'm gonna, yeah.
I think everybody's gonna go that way. I just realized that I can't. I thought the Ken would be Ken was screaming about the 4th and this is a scenario where if it's 4th and 1 from your own. Actually, it can only be the furthest back you can be on 4th and 1 is the 10.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I said that, I was like, well, that's not gonna work actually.
Yeah.
4th and 1 from your 1.
You can't do that. It does not work. But yeah, you could be 4th and 1 from the 10. That's as far in. It's only a 6-yard difference than what you just did the other night. Yeah. Number 2, you're a Cowboys fan? Deion Sanders or Todd Monken?
Not a Cowboys fan.
But you're going to have to be in this scenario.
No.
Don't.
Well.
Don't make me come over.
Don't want to do it.
Don't make me take my belt off.
I mean, yeah, I'm with Ken. Deion would be. I don't think. What's going to excite you about Todd. I mean, no offense to Todd Monken.
It's not about whether it excites you or not. It's about what do you think is best for trying to win a Super Bowl.
Probably still, I don't know. Probably still Deion. Like, can he talk Travis Hunter into saying, say no to the Patriots, say no to the Jaguars, whoever drafts you? LeBron
James doing that with Bronny James is going to make us like question reality, but the NFL will never. The NFL will never allow one person to have that type of power.
I mean, it's already a circus. Like, what's it gonna matter? I think Deion could help bring it would be a different perspective on things, certainly. Like Ken said, like if we're gonna lose football games anyway, might as well have Deion Sanders.
Keep coming back to if we're gonna lose football games. There's no way that will ever be in a thought process that I have about this. I don't know where that comes from. If we're gonna lose football games. You're a fan of the team. This is the problem. Like, imagine saying that about your team. Like, imagine if I said, hey, the Orioles need a manager for next year. Would you rather it be I'm trying to think who a qualified manager.
Become a Savannah Bananas or
yeah, like, or they could hire Jose Canseco, and you're like, oh, you know what? I'll hire Jose Canseco. And I'm not trying to. That's unfair because Deion Sanders isn't Jose Canseco. Like, he's, had some success as a coach.
Tony La Russa. That's who they. That's who they hire.
It's not fun. That's the opposite of fun.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like this is how your internet memeing your choice for who you want to be your coach is some bizarre S. You also have a distorted view of Deion Sanders where you like genuinely.
I mean, Colorado was
not good.
Worst FBS team
it's fine.
Worst Power 5, I guess we'll say that. But
they were
2 years ago.
That's fine, and they're still not good.
They can still compete for a Big 12 championship this week.
Right, because the Big 12 stinks.
And they're gonna have a bye in the first round. I mean, I guess they gave it to Boise State last night. Was that right?
They did. They said
so maybe they won't have a bye, but they're gonna be represented in the playoffs. So
no, if a miracle scenario plays out right now, they would still need like 5 things to happen to even have a chance to get in the Big 12 championship.
I mean,
game.
the Big 12 is gonna be represented. Like
yes, the Big 12 will be in.
They are,
but it's part of the
space
story
that is relevant. So,
like, I don't hate Deion Sanders, but pretending like the story is more about Deion Sanders than it is about how bad the Big 12 is doing that for our own edification because we've decided that we have to draw a line in the sand and either be pro Deion Sanders or anti Deion Sanders. I think Deion Sanders has done a decent job, but that's it. Like. That's it. The story of why Colorado was in the conversation for the college football playoff is that the Big 12 has become the AAC. So the suggestion is that would you take a coach from the AAC and hire them in the NFL?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jeff Saturday got hired one time.
That's true for a game.
He was sitting essentially where you are.
Yeah, that's true. Essentially.
Yeah, I guess not essentially, but
yeah. All right, and number 3, turkey and sauerkraut or tofurkey and all of the sides.
I mean, I guess I kind of pretty much already gave it away. So they're not making like brisket or something or ham or something as well.
There's no other
meat
other
options.
like main meat there might be meat in like if they make greens and put some. I'm saying all of the sides that you would normally have for Thanksgiving, all of the sides that you like.
And then like I'm not going to another Thanksgiving.
No, this is it. This is it for Thanksgiving.
This is my only Thanksgiving.
It's turkey and sauerkraut, or it's tofurkey and all of the sides from your family's Thanksgiving meal.
That is very tough. I mean, I'm gonna lean. I think I want turkey on Thanksgiving.
I like turkey. Don't get me
wrong.
Like
that's what I'm saying. Like I do like turkey, but like, do I love? Am I gonna die for
saying,
turkey?
Now this is a little bit we don't do the Clark family Thanksgiving until Friday. But that's the one with the jalapeno potatoes and with the pineapple stuffing. Although I guess my sister's not coming to that, so she's not making her buffalo dip that is better than my wife's. I can't say that. Don't put that on there.
Say dump.
Don't.
Not that we have a dump.
It's a lot better.
Jeez,
it's awkward.
Can't you have like
my wife's is fine. It's fine. But like, my sister goes the extra mile. She like she slow cooks the chicken, pulls it. My wife uses canned chicken but it's fine. My sister's is better. Sorry.
Jeez.
I love you, baby. You
do.
I promise you.
All right.
Love you.
Man, I'm coming really close to saying the tofurkey. I don't have to eat the tofurkey, do I?
You don't have to. No. There's no rule
so I can
that
just
says
eat
that.
all
But you're just not
mashed
getting
potatoes,
you're not getting turkey.
etc.
There's no. Yeah, you could eat all the sides.
All. think I might go with the. I don't know. I'll go turkey sauerkraut. I don't know. I mean, I can have sauerkraut any other time. You know.
All right.
I'll go tofurkey in the sides. I want the
sides.
sides.
Very good.
I want everything else.
Get me your answers at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter.
They have even like rolls or something with the turkey sauerkraut.
No,
or?
it's just turkey and sauerkraut. That's it. Turkey and sauerkraut.
All right, I'll lock it in.
That's the meal.
We'll go tofurkey. Right. Even though I'm probably not gonna eat the tofurkey.
Why does it have to be this difficult?
I'll go with the sides.
Just answer the damn question. Sorry,
I don't know.
I thought I was about to puke there for a second.
Jeez. Just thinking about tofurkey?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Get me your responses at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter.
You're at the puke at the thought of not having buffalo.
Yeah, right. I'm really sad about it. I hadn't thought of what the hell is going on over there.
Sorry, I won't say it anymore.
I'm really sad about my sister telling me she's not going to be there.
So maybe say
because that was the first thought I had.
Maybe say Ari's sick. Maybe go back and revisit.
I really want to be like Ari, because I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
Do you just need me to go get the?
Yeah, I can.
Buffalo.
Oh God, I should do that. I should offer to stop and pick up the dip. Oh, it's exactly what I should do. But that would make me a monster. Whatever.
Wear a mask when you go in.
Did you use your hand? Did you wear gloves when you prepared the buffalo dip? And I don't know how to. You can't have this I love my wife so much. My wife tried to make, because Monday night she's been trying to make dips related to opponents. I've talked about that. So she asked me about L.A. She's like, what it would be for L.A.? I'm like, well, probably either like a Mexican type of dip, or you know what'd be fun? If you could do an In-N-Out animal-style dip.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like an animal-style cheeseburger dip.
Does sound involved.
So she found something online, and she was like, all right, I'm going to give this a shot. Now, first of all, I don't know what these people were doing. Like, it needed some cream cheese or something. This recipe, she should have recognized. It just wasn't really a dip as much as it was like meat, and there was the animal-style sauce. She made that. That was fine. But then, making matters worse, my wife forgot that she was supposed to chop up the pickles.
Yeah, pickles are pickles, though. So
she made a dip that was like ground beef with like whole pickle chips on top. And I was like, "What? How are you?"
Well, it's like the Chick-fil-A pizza or whatever that the.
I'm like, "What? What is the? How is this a dip?" It's just like it was good as a bowl. Like that's what I really did is I just put it in a bowl and ate it with a fork. It was good. Like it was like a cheeseburger bowl, but like
sounds good. It looks good too. At least the one that I'm looking at here.
It was a fine idea. In order to be a dip, it just needed a little more.
So you're really upset about the pickle chips thing?
Well,
that doesn't sound like that's gonna ruin it.
It really got. We got.
I guess since you're a pickle guy.
She was like, well, I didn't have to chop the pickles because they were already. I'm like, she was trying to convince me that because they were pickle chips, that meant they were already chopped from pickle spears. It's
okay.
Like, no, they needed to be chopped up so that they were little like pickle bites. That's how for a dip.
As long as everything else was executed well,
it was
I
fine.
Think.
And again, as a bowl, I enjoyed it. I put it in a bowl and I enjoyed it. But it wasn't. It just really wasn't the consistency of a dip. You can't have whole pickle chips and still be a dip. Like that doesn't. It kind of overwhelms everything else that's going on.
All right,
there.
well, tell her. If
then she was
if
angry.
she wants to invite me over, I will enjoy it and I will compliment everything.
Well, she was angry because I kept saying 5 times. I'm like, baby, I really appreciate it. Thank you. But I didn't post a picture of it on Facebook. And so she's like, I know. You didn't like it. If you had liked it, you would have posted a picture.
See, that's why you either just commit to doing it every time or just
it's a really bad,
never ever
it's
do
a really
it.
Uncomfortable. And she's right. She's 100% right. I can't even argue. You're like,
can you go? What if you post it now? Did you didn't take a picture at all?
I didn't take a picture of it because I didn't.
You did what?
Okay. Truth be told, I didn't want anybody else to say anything like that. Doesn't really look like a dip. I didn't want anybody else to come
Couldn't
after.
Have been that.
I didn't want anybody else to come after my wife because God love her. She put the effort into it. She had the thought, and I appreciate it. You never know. People are assholes.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Like, I just didn't want there to be any. I didn't want anybody to go on a picture and be like, "That doesn't look like a dip to me." I didn't want that. I didn't want it. So I didn't want it. I love her. I appreciate the effort. I don't want her to then be like reading the internet the next day and being like, "People are making fun of my
suddenly, you're the asshole on the internet." Then.
Yeah, right. Because I wouldn't post the picture to let other assholes. It's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing. And her buffalo dip is fine. It's a fine buffalo dip, but my sister's is better. It's actually problematic that we have it on Thanksgiving because there's so much other food that I want.
Yeah.
But, like, the dip is so good that I end up before dinner having, like, a lot of dip. And then I get to dinner and all the things that I like, and I'm like, oh, damn, I've already eaten all that dip. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's better this way. All right. What are we doing? Oh, Seth Greenberg when we come back in. Talk some Terps. Or do we want to do that at the end of the show? You tell me. You want to do Tidbit, Tubular, and then Seth Greenberg?
I don't know. I guess
Let's do that. Tidbit,
All right,
Tubular, and we'll
do
wrap the show talking to Seth Greenberg. That's exactly what I was thinking. Thank you for the suggestion.
Hey, you're welcome.
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you more about the we're launching the raffle this week. And I'll tell you more about that when we come back in as well. What?
Do we got to do 5 plays?
Oh, I didn't even think about 5 plays. It's a Wednesday. Piss.
Yeah.
You're right.
We do an express version when we come back.
I haven't done it. That's the problem.
Okay.
I didn't even
do mine, I guess.
genuinely didn't think about it.
Yeah,
I tell you what. We'll talk to Seth Greenberg, then we'll do 5 plays.
Okay.
Tell Seth Greenberg.
All right, let me make sure it's okay.
Yeah, text him right now. This is how you learn.
Game's
it.
about to start, though. I
We
don't know.
Pre-recorded an interview. That's next. Glenn Clark Radio.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
Pressbox's Project Game Day is the place to be after every game this season. Join Glenn Clark, Rita Hubbard, Super Bowl 35 champion Femi Adebayo, and our cast of regulars as they break down what happened, why it mattered, and what it means moving forward. You can watch the show at PressBoxOnline.com/gameday or Pressbox's Facebook and YouTube pages. Project Game Day is brought to you by the Green Turtle Sportsbook in Towson and Canton, Easy Pass, and HelpMyGamblingProblem.org. So join us for Project Game Day after every game day this football season at PressBoxOnline.com/game day.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Brace yourselves for an unparalleled in-person betting experience at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook and Bars in Canton and Towson. Experience the thrill of live betting with Baltimore's only state-of-the-art Vegas viewing TV experience. Choose between their on-site tellers or the convenience of their self-bet kiosks to place your bets. And now stop by the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton every Wednesday for a free $10 bet. Just show up, sign up, and get your $10 bet for free. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Go to mdgamblinghelp.org.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. We had to do this a little bit earlier on as well because of his schedule. Yeah, we were just joshing you. But an opportunity to catch up with the great Seth Greenberg, talk some college hoops, some Terps right here on GCR. Well, obviously, it's a very busy week in college hoops. I feel like I've seen this man on my TV more than I've seen, like, my family this week, because he's doing everything, and he's squeezing in a couple minutes for us this morning after he was in studio for Maryland Villanova on Sunday. He is Coach Seth Greenberg, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn. It's great to catch up with you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Well, back at you, and it's a good time right now. I'll tell you one thing, Maryland's got a chance to be pretty good, and it's a great time of the year with feast week and great games each and every night, so life is good.
Yeah, these late nights and great games, no doubt about it. Coach, you mentioned Maryland, so I know the affinity that you have for Baltimore basketball players. I know you talk about the state of Baltimore, and we've talked a lot over the years about the great Malcolm Delaney, but Derrick Queen, man, is a different type. He's not the traditional Baltimore guy, right? Like, he's not undersized.
He's not a guard.
Right?
He's not a guard.
Right.
Baltimore. I live and die with Baltimore guards, but I'll tell you one thing. He's got the kind of trickeration and game and feel and of a Baltimore guard. He's just in a big body. I mean, like the plays he made down the stretch, big time.
No doubt, right? And I think that's what's so encouraging is, like, that turnaround jumper is one of my favorite Maryland basketball things that I've seen in years, because to me, that's with the game on the line, this is proof that this guy can be not just the interior presence, but a potential closer as well. And if this is what we're seeing in November, I get that it's likely only going to be 1 year, but I think that what we saw on Sunday is extraordinarily encouraging for what this might look like even as quickly as January and February.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for young players in general is January and February until you hit the wall, maybe, sometime in February, because, each and every game is not a game. It's an event when you play in that conference. And he's going to have to be good each and every night for them to be good. But you're watching his hands and his footwork and how he uses his body and how he targets and how he gets angles and how Kevin uses him all over the floor and the stuff that they're running across the board, whether it's for Rodney or Gillespie, or Julian. And the good thing is to have Julian beside him, because he's got a guy that, if Julian plays the way he played the last few games, he's got a guy beside him that can take a little heat off him. Now that's a two-headed monster that's hard to play against.
No doubt about it, right? And look, they also have been making free throws a little bit more, which has been encouraging. There were a couple down the stretch that didn't go, but they were 14 of 19 for the game. I think that stands out as well for a team that's going to work inside. We know that it works. Like, the Big Ten's been a big man league, right? But I think the knock has always been, Coach, that once you get into March, you don't want to be a team that relies on big men. I don't know if we're too dismissive of that. Can this be a team that can be better in March than other Big Ten teams have been in recent seasons?
I mean, there was a Big Ten team last year with a big guy that went to the championship game.
That is true. That is true.
Look, it's hard to win in March. And the Big Ten has struggled a little bit in March. Everyone says it's too big, it's too slow. It's amazing, though. I mean, they say it's in March, but I tell you, the Big Ten kicks everyone's tail in November and December. So, like, for all the people that complain about all the teams the Big Ten gets in the NCAA tournament, then beat their rear ends in November and December, because if you beat them in November and December, they won't get as many teams in the tournament.
That's a fact.
But the league has done well in the non-conference. You build your NCAA tournament resume in November and December as a conference. And that's what the Big Ten's been able to do.
He is Seth Greenberg. He's with us here on GCR. Maryland back in action this afternoon. Seth, if I could, I think the concern maybe that we've seen in the early portion of the schedule is maybe the depth for Maryland, where, like Deshaun Harris-Smith has now gone to the bench but hasn't given them a ton offensively, maybe a little bit in ball handling that's helpful. They haven't gotten a ton of minutes from other guys. How concerned would you be about their depth going into conference play? Do we make too much of that?
Yeah, I think it's a factor if you have injuries. If you stay healthy, it's not as much a factor. It's a factor when you travel cross country to play a game.
And they got to do that now in the Big Ten, obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, I think if you can get a good 7-man rotation, I think you're fine. I think, let's face it, Deshaun Harris-Smith, he's got to give him, because he's got versatile minutes. He can kind of help you in a couple of positions, which is really, really important. But, stay out of foul trouble, stay healthy. If you can develop into a 7-man rotation, then all of a sudden, you have a chance. You have a chance. And look, those guys on the bench got to give you 10 minutes a game. You got to get 2 or 3 guys that can give you 10 minutes a game. And the great Terry Holland, who I worked for at Virginia, used to say, like, your bench guys have to do one of 2 things. They got to be tempo changers, or they got to be mistake-free players. And I think they can establish some mistake-free players from, those guys, coming off the bench, whether it's the kid from New Zealand that gives them a couple of minutes. They've got guys that potentially can help them to some extent, a little bit, and be functional.
You mentioned Rodney Rice a minute ago, who, like you, obviously has history at Virginia Tech. I think there was a lot of questions about what Rodney Rice was going to be able to offer this team. I've been blown away by how seamless it's been for him coming in and sort of being the guy that everybody thought he was going to be in the past. What impresses you most about him, and how good can that backcourt duo of he and Jacoby Gillespie be?
Well, look, he's older. I mean, when he was a young kid when he was at Virginia Tech, probably a little immature, probably thought college basketball was going to be easier than it was. He was held accountable. He had to defend. He had to do other things that impact winning. I think young players don't even understand what impacts winning. Sitting out and getting older, being more mature, continuing to be coached, allowing himself to be coached, realizing what he didn't know maybe, were all good things for him. So, I think that's a positive. Look, the guy can score. He's got to defend consistently. He's got to make good decisions. But, what he can do is he can score. And, they do need that. Obviously Gillespie is terrific. But, you need if you want to utilize those bigs, you need floor gamers and shot makers. And Rodney Rice, he fits both of those. He has a floor game and he can make shots. So, if he's knocking down threes like the last 3 games, I think he's like 8 for 18 from the 3.
Mm-hmm.
If he's making 3-point shots, what does that do? It opens up more space. And, and Gillespie can make shots. That opens up more space. Then when you have those things happening, then the game becomes easy for other people. And that's, that's the whole deal, man. Yeah. That's the whole deal. I mean, now there's space for Miguel to drive it, and there's space for Queen to work his man, back in back downs and playing off the elbow. There's space for Julian to use his quickness. So he can do that and continue to defend and do those things. I mean, obviously he's capable, and I think he's grown up.
You've used the word defend a couple times, right? And I feel like that's been the sort of staple of Kevin Willard since he arrived. That even a year ago, when the offense was miserable, right, and they were one of the worst shooting teams in the entire country, they were still buying in and selling out. And I feel like that's the thing that we've just kind of counted on. Maybe it hasn't been outstanding or exemplary early on, but I feel like it's part of the reason why we're so high on this team and think there is an upside is because we're counting on that to continue from a Kevin Willard team.
Oh, his teams are going to guard, and his teams are going to be assertive, and his teams are going to create turnovers and a little bit of chaos at times. The hardest thing, you got a young kid like Queen who's going to be putting a ton of ball screens when he gets in the league, or even off-ball screens. That's the biggest adjustment for young players is learning how to defend screening situations, learning how to communicate in defensive transition, learning how to be alert off the ball, not just on the ball in their moment in time. But Kevin's teams are always going to be able to defend.
And what about, can I ask generically what the upside is for this team? Like if they do continue to get some depth, if Derrick Queen continues to develop, what is this group capable of doing in the Big Ten this year, Coach?
If I knew that, I'd go to Vegas and I'd have someone feeding me grapes.
I get it.
They have a really good core group. They will continue to get better. They've got one of the better front courts in the country. If Julian continues to play the way he's playing and Derrick plays the way he's playing, their backcourt is improving, obviously. If Rodney can be consistent, and again, it's like no different than like a quarterback. People can have more film on him now. They're going to figure out what they're going to give, what they're going to take away. But they're an NCAA tournament team if they got to go out and do it. And the thing about that league is there's no rocking chair games.
Right.
So I mean, it's like when you win a game, that's great, but really that league's all about how you handle losing a game, because if you don't handle it right, then one game becomes 2, becomes 3, becomes you lose 3 out of 5 or something like that, and it snowballs. That conference is all about learning from your last game and moving on. That's really what it's about.
No, I totally get that. What is the impact of this now being? We obviously we see the teams from the West Coast coming in. How much do you think that will impact? I know it's not a ton of trips. It's not like you're doing that on a Tuesday and then coming home. But what will the impact of in-season cross-country travel be for programs like Maryland?
Well, it's going to be a lot worse for those programs in Southern California. I mean, to go back and forth, I can tell you that much. Yeah. They got to do it 4 times and 5 times. So I mean, that's where the problem comes. For going cross country, yeah. I mean, look, what it's going to be is you better bring your academic support people with you. I think the last time I checked, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. We're so into pay for play that maybe you don't have to continue to go to class and do what you're supposed to do. All classes are online, so it makes no difference. So you're not missing class time. So yeah, I mean, as long as you're gonna leave earlier, you're gonna go out to California, and you know what? If you got a Thursday game, you're probably gonna leave, probably Tuesday after practice early in the morning and leave after practice. Get there Tuesday, Wednesday, have your practice on the road, and then play Thursday, and then coming back is going to be a little bit rough, but you'll probably red-eye it back coming home.
And obviously it maybe works out best for Maryland because their only trip is the Pacific Northwest, and they actually get that in the beginning of January. So maybe not in the throes of Big Ten. Yeah, right? That's probably the best case scenario for this season for having to do it. Seth
That's a long trip, though, man.
It is.
That's a long trip.
Oh, no.
Seattle and Oregon.
Right?
Hey, you might, if you're charter and you're stopping to fill up in gas unless you got one of those big hogs.
Yeah, where the heck do you stop? You stop in Nebraska or something like that on the way out there?
That's above my pay grade.
They didn't ask you to handle that, did they? At Seth on Hoops, of course, is how you can follow him. Seth, is there anything else we can plug for you?
No, all good. Just, Feast Week is great. SEC, ACC is coming. I'm obviously disappointed that we don't have Maryland in that, but, it's a great time of year. We've got more good teams, more older teams. I think it's going to be an incredible season of college basketball.
Well, we enjoyed having you in studio for that game on Sunday, and, yeah, hopefully there'll be an excuse to have a game on ESPN again at some point in the future. Seth, appreciate you, man. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Same to you. Stay safe. My pleasure.
Seth Greenberg with us here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time for us. All right. 5 plays brought to you this week by the print issue of Press Box. We were just talking to Seth Greenberg about the Terps. Find out more about Derek Queen and Juju Reese, Baltimore-built duo that is reunited inside this print issue of Press Box. Available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of those hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. All right. Let's get into it. 5 plays. Number 5. There's going to be a lot of narrative stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys. When I sat down on Monday night, when I was still thinking about pats on the ass and 5 plays, and did utterly forget that I had to do that on Wednesday because I was worried about other things, I had sort of decided that, to me, the 2 narratives of the game, the story of the game was, obviously, foreshadowing, the 4th down conversions, and sticking with the run after they fell behind by 2 scores. So we're going to get to all the other ones, but the play that best tells the story is sticking with the run, getting down by 2 scores, is the first play they ran after they fell behind by 2 scores. And with 11:26 remaining in the second quarter, down 10-0, the first play of the next drive was a 19-yard run from Derrick Henry. And I really think, I would argue that I probably could have put this higher on the list because of the narrative. If they go out and run the ball, Derrick Henry, and lose 2 yards, and now they're behind the sticks and down by multiple scores, I have seen way too much of the Ravens panicking in moments like that. That instead, they got a huge gain on the first run play, which then begat another run play where they got another 14 yards 1 play later, massive to me in terms of them remaining committed to the run, doing exactly what they needed to do in that moment, and not panicking and getting away from things. So I would argue that this particular play, while in the scope of how they won the game, you would say it's just a 19-yard run, not all that big. But in the narrative of how they won the game, to me, massive. Number 5, the first play after they fell behind by 10 points.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess I just we shouldn't. Maybe
It's not
maybe we shouldn't expect.
It's not a significantly volatile play,
right?
But it's a huge for narratives and the things that we're used to with the Ravens. The narrative of getting away from the run down by 10, I was terrified.
Like, obviously, you should expect them to stick with the run, even though it is still early in the game. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely big that they stick with it, and obviously the result of those first 2 plays was huge. I mean, another big story, obviously, on top of the 4th down conversions. I mean, they were very good on 3rd down as well. I'm sticking with where I was here, and it was the first third, or sorry, so they converted 2 third downs on the first drive out of
we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, out of the half. So I went with the second one. It was 3rd and 10 compared to 3rd and 9 was the first one, and this one went for 25 yards.
This is the one to
Zay Flowers. Lamar just rolling to his right. Lamar doing his thing and hitting Zay Flowers, got him across midfield, got him into field goal territory, and I mean, it was a very big play.
I have no issue with it. The reason it didn't make my list is because it ended up being a field goal drive, right? Instead of being if that had been a touchdown drive, I absolutely think it would have been on my list. And because I couldn't. Ultimately, I also couldn't leave any of the 4th down conversions off. I can't. They were too important. For me to leave any of them off. But I get it. And it also is a big chunk play. Like there's good argument for it. If it had been a touchdown drive, it probably would have made my list. It wasn't, so I couldn't put it on there. Number 4 to me is the 3rd of the 4th down conversions. It was the one from the 25. And the significance of it is you're now eschewing 3 points in a 1-point game. That's the significance. The volatility of that play is 3 points essentially in hand from the 25 and a 2-possession game in the 4th quarter essentially in hand if you don't convert in that moment. The volatility of that, it's easy to say, well, once you've gone for it the other 2 times, you have to go for it here. That's an easy thing to say within a narrative. Within the actual reality of the game, the decision isn't easy. The conversion is imperative because you're taking a 2-possession game and making it a 1-possession game in the 4th quarter by making that decision. So, had to have it. That was that was a simple 2-yard run for Derrick Henry. Why do I feel like was that one I was a little bit nervy about? Like they did it quickly because
it was the first play of the 4th quarter, right?
Yes, it was the first play of the 4th quarter. And I remember maybe part of it was just because they had flipped the field, like my brain wasn't there yet, but I remember like watching it at first like, "Oh, wait. Oh no, he's good."
I think I do remember having that same sense.
The
where
field
I was like,
flips, and you're like, "Wait a second,
that's the wrong way."
It's exactly like your brain's playing tricks on you.
I realized I messed up. I actually only had 6 plays, so that was. Am I allowed to do that?
Have to get rid of one of them. No, you cannot have 6 plays.
I was going to get rid of the 3rd down conversion.
If you'd like to, you can.
Okay. That my 5 play is that one that you just talked about.
Okay.
The 4th and 1 out of the 4th quarter. Just simple 2 yards. I only had 2 of the 4th down plays just because of I felt like the first one was so impactful. It felt like they weren't. It felt like they weren't not going to get any of the other 4th downs, and I still wanted to include another 3rd down. I had 2 more 3rd down conversions. Just felt like they were converting on 3rd down. This was the one defensive play I had at number 4, and it was they were already up by 2 touchdowns here, but I mean this helped to essentially steal 2nd and 10 from the Baltimore 40. On the last, the Chargers went 3 and out, and this was Kyle Van Noy breaking
it's
through
the
for
only
the sack.
defensive play that I considered for the list was this one, but to
Yeah,
the point,
I
kind of think the game was already over, so I couldn't register it with it. But I get it. Like, you had to finish it. I get the argument.
Yes. And, yeah, I mean, like, the defense played well. There wasn't, I guess, a massive, huge, I guess, momentum-swinging defensive play. But this was about as big as it could have gotten. Back them with the 3rd and 18. They threw an incomplete deep ball. No time went off the clock for the Chargers, and they just 3 plays and they had to punt it away, and a lot of it an 8-yard loss on a sack for that Kyle Van Noy got credit for. On this one, it's the last stop the defense needed to get, and they got it. So that's why I went with the Kyle Van Noy sack in the fourth quarter.
It was one I considered. Number 3 to me is the other 4th down conversion on earlier in that same drive. This is at the end of the 3rd quarter. This is the one from your own 39, which again, as I alluded to within Would You Rather Wednesday, like inside your own 40, that's still bold in a 1-possession game. It's so easy for us to say, well, once you go for it 4th and 1 from your own 16, you just got to go for it every time. It ain't that simple. Now, this one stands out a little bit more because it ended up being a 27-yard chunk play as well, right? Like, this is the one where Derrick Henry gets to the outside, and, they ran that play very quickly, remember? They got quickly to the line of scrimmage, got up. They weren't messing around in that spot. But from your own 39-yard line, it's the volatility of the play. Like, you don't convert. The Chargers actually have a kicker. You don't convert that, it's at least 3 points the other way. It's a massive volatility moment. Ends up not only getting the first down, but also getting a huge chunk play. So it's number 3 on my list.
That's a very good one. My number 4 was the Kyle Van Noy sack. My number 3, I went with a 3rd down conversion here that resulted in a touchdown. 3rd and goal from the Chargers 6. With this was later on that same drive that they ended up scoring. They had to get a touchdown.
It's not a given to convert on 3rd and goal from the 6. I'm okay with that.
And the fact that it's Mark Andrews as well, to see that the way that they've been able to get Mark Andrews back involved in this game and of recent is very comforting. And again, it's the pick your poison with this offense. And Mark Andrews being a thing on 3rd down and in the red zone, doing both of those on this play. A field goal doesn't do any good. It was 17-16 at the time, and that was very to me that was a very massive play coming in the 4th quarter of a 1-point game, scoring a touchdown on 3rd down.
Number 2 for me is one that will. It's funny because Jay Gruden actually brought it up earlier in the show, right? Which is. Obviously, number 1 is what number 1 is, right? Like, imagine the answer for number 1 being anything other than 4th. As everybody has pointed out, something that literally no NFL team has done in decades. At least. I don't even know if there are other examples. We just know that in the last decade, the only other team that's ever gone for it on 4th down that deep was a fake punt.
Right.
No one has done this.
Because did Dan Campbell, the Lions do it once and got stopped last year or something?
That sounds familiar.
Or maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't know. But yeah.
This hasn't happened. This is unprecedented.
Oh, then Brandon Staley did it too, didn't he?
Did he?
On Sunday Night
that sounds
Football.
like something that Brandon Staley would do. So that obviously was going to be number 1, right? It's of course going to be number 1. But as Jay Gruden pointed out, there's always the possibility that you do something like that and it doesn't go anywhere. Number 2 for me is the Rashad Bateman touchdown, which is, at that point, with 24 seconds left, you're still only on the 40-yard line. Points aren't even a guarantee because, Justin Tucker. For as significant as we want that play to be, it's really only significant as do you get the job done? And it's easy to think back and say, well, they methodically moved the ball. Well, kinda. There were 24 seconds left with that touchdown. I would say it was still unlikely they were scoring a touchdown at that point. With 24 seconds from the 40-yard line, the odds are you're not scoring a touchdown.
Did have 3 timeouts.
I get it, but the odds are still not good. You don't have the entirety of the playbook because if you just start running the ball on every down, you're going to have to call all those timeouts. You got to get 40 yards. They got it all in one play. And it was also a hell of a play. It was part of the reason why
great throw.
It's consolidated. To me,
it was big because was it the drive earlier where they threw almost the same looking play where Bateman just didn't. Or I guess the ball got. It was good defense.
Yes, it was
Chargers.
Good defense, 100%.
Both
was that
plays.
Still that made the play the previous time. I remember him making a big play. I don't remember if it was that one.
Was it? It might have been.
Anyway, the moral of the story being, in tennis we use the term consolidating the break, right? Like the biggest momentum thing in tennis is when you break someone else's serve. But every time you break someone's serve, it's as good as your next service game is. You have to back it up. In baseball, we call them shutdown innings, right? Like you go score runs, you get the momentum in the game, things are going your way. It's as good as making sure you go back out there and you put up a 0 so that it matters, so that you now have the momentum. Because if you score 3 runs in an inning but turn around and allow 2, then you don't really have the momentum anymore. It's like, yes, you might still technically have the lead, but the 3 runs, this to me was consolidating the conversion. Yes, the conversion's number 1, obviously. But in order for it to be number 1, it kind of required this.
Yeah.
That's why it's my number 2.
That one wasn't on my list. The one scoring play I had was the Andrews touchdown. I felt like there was no way I could leave this play. The double stiff arm play on 3rd and 1, bouncing it to the outside. This is, again, I mean, you have to, you can't lose yards here. Like, it does feel, if they get stopped right at the line of scrimmage, they do probably go for it because it'd be 4th and 1, and they love going for it on 4th and 1. But, I mean, I felt like it also, this put the game on ice because 2 plays later was the Justice Hill 50-yard run, because you obviously had to give Derrick Henry a spell at that point. But it was 3rd and 1 with 9:20 left in the game, and it just pretty much signaled to the Chargers that they're not going to be able to hang. They can't play with the Ravens at this point anymore. There's 10 minutes left in the game. It was still it was 23-16 at that point, and Derrick Henry shoving 2 guys to the ground.
It was
just
cool.
It was
cool
an unbelievable play.
It was cool.
And I felt like outside of the 4th and 1, the first 4th and 1, probably the highlight of the game. The two stiff arms.
I think it was more cool than it was a play that told the story. I think it was
a 3rd down conversion.
I'm not trying to say
third downs were a big part to me.
I just don't think 3rd and 1 can
the
compare to
fourths.
4th and 1, and I think it was a cool play. It probably isn't.
And
higher
it felt
than,
like, and after, so
I think
one,
you have better plays lower on your list than this one. I think this one to me
might be fair.
Like might be 9th where
and a lot of it is because I think this 4th and 1 play could be listed 5 times like that.
Well, I get it. Yes, I understand. Like it's the story, but again, it's about consolidating. All right, we'll get it up at GlennClarkRadio.com here in a minute.
I mean, I was texting my friends right away. Like after they got stopped, I was like, I think they should go for it here, and then. I refreshed Twitter. Zarebeck tweets. He's like, "Oh, the punt team's coming out for the Ravens," and it's like, and then he sends another tweet right away, and he's like, "Never mind. It looks like the offense is coming back out." It's like, yes.
All right.
It felt like they weren't going to be able to not do any. It felt like they were going to be able to do whatever they wanted the rest of the way.
We got to do a lot now in 9 minutes. All right, because I have to tell you guys, it's probably going to be tonight, maybe tomorrow, that I will make our annual Helping Up Mission raffle go live, and I'm still kind of finalizing a few of the prizes. Here's what I know is going to be involved. I got to thank I don't know who I'm supposed to thank here. Got to thank my buddy Woody and the Washington Capitals because they've gone above and beyond. Certificate of Authenticity number. Well, hang on. I'm going to do it in reverse order. Tom Wilson. Certificate of Authenticity. There's a autographed Tom Wilson puck right there with a certificate of authenticity. That sounds pretty good, right?
Man, I just want to start punching somebody. Just think about Tom Wilson.
Right? Look, man. Number 2, certificate of authenticity, TJ Oshie with the certificate of authenticity. I hear he's Captain America. I hear he's pretty good. Even if you're not a Capitals fan, what he did for our country. Love that. Oh, and, there's one other one in here. Certificate of authenticity, Alex Ovechkin. Autograph.
What's he
puck.
done?
Alex Ovechkin. Yes, with the certificate of authenticity, which is good because Alex Ovechkin, I actually know this because I own another Alex Ovechkin autograph puck. His autograph is not, you need the certificate of authenticity when you get an autographed Alex Ovechkin.
Well, I think the thing about the one that you think you own is that I think Graham probably.
It's actually his. Yeah, it's in his room.
He just wrote.
You think he signed it? No, I've got a certificate on that one as well. It's in Graham's room, and he has he does not care at all about the Capitals. And I don't know how to explain to him, like, dude, that one's a big deal. Like, don't play with that. Whatever you do not play with it. That'll be 3 different prizes. So 3 prizes so far in the raffle are those 3. There'll be another prize that'll just be a Capitals grab bag, which is 2 of their 50th anniversary commemorative sweaters, and some pennants as well. So that'll be a 4th prize in the raffle. Oh, I should have sent you these so you could put them on the screen. Oh, I'm so sorry. FOCO. I got to thank the folks at FOCO who have provided us some prizes. And the folks at FOCO have provided us 2 Cedric Mullins Baltimore Orioles Great Catch bobbleheads. FOCO, make sure, is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise celebrating more than 20 years in the industry. The company's always growing product lines include apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. FOCO is licensed with all major sports leagues, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, NASCAR, MLS, and over 200 colleges and universities, as well as entertainment properties such as Nickelodeon, Peanuts, and WWE. They have provided us 2 Cedric Mullins Great Catch bobbleheads. Let me see if I can't show it to you so you know what it looks like. These, by the way, these are not mass-produced. These are, like, handcrafted. They're bobbleheads. So this is not a $20 bobblehead. This is an $80 bobblehead that there are not many of. They only make them available for a very short amount of time. It looks like, oh, can I get that up on the screen? Come on. I'm so sorry. Hang on.
Are you able to send it to me? Or
it's probably too late for that.
Okay.
It looks like that. I don't know if anybody can see it. That's what it looks like. Very cool. So we have 2 of those for sure. I have tickets to Clutch at Rams Head Live. Now, that's next Friday, so we got to get this thing filled up quickly. I have a $100 gift card to the Gourmet at Kenilworth. We were just there for the Arthur Millette show a couple weeks back. Their food is unbelievable. $100 gift card to the Gourmet at Kenilworth, and might still be 1 or 2 prizes. Oh, I know I have 2 pairs of tickets to the Rollin' with Santa party that Grade 8's Memorabilia is hosting with some local sports legends. They're still finalizing that list, but they do it on the Sunday before Christmas, and it's a great bowling party at Parkville Lanes, and there'll be some local sports legends that will be making appearances throughout the course of that as well. So lots of great prizes, tremendous prizes, and probably still 1 or 2 more to come. But we're going to put it live tonight. You need to get in $25. Glenn-Clark on Venmo. That's the best way to do it. Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App, if that's what you prefer. If you're PayPal, Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal. $25. I'm gonna harass you guys. That's the way it's gonna go because we need to fill 100 spots. You're gonna have a 10% chance of winning by buying 1 spot because there's going to be at least 10 prizes. So if you're not a Capitals fan, there's other stuff for you. If you are a Capitals fan, tell other Capitals fan friends. We're going to take care of helping up Mission, get the folks there the toiletries and the underwear that they need to get through the year. More details will be available tonight at glennclarkradio.com. I got a lot going on. I'm trying to finalize it all, but we are going to make this live this week. Let's get it filled up. As you're out celebrating this holiday, let's be thinking about the people that need it. So please, please, please help us as we helping up. How good is Tidbit?
I guess it wasn't all that great. I had 2 quick college hoops ones for you.
Quick.
It is. Let me tell you what it's brought to you by as well before we jump into it.
Tidbit. It can be brought to you by Live Casino if you'd like it to be. That's fine. It didn't need to be, but that's fine. Go ahead. We can do it again. It just didn't need to be now. Go ahead. Tell us about Live Casino.
Baltimore football and Washington football games. Whenever they play home games, you get $7 in free slot play whenever they score a touchdown during their home games for Live Rewards members who have their Live Rewards card inserted correctly into the slot machine actively playing. As well in order to get your prize, because once those touchdowns score, $7 free slot play. Adderall Mills must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Janai Broom had a very big game for Auburn in their win over North Carolina, 23-19 to go along with 5 assists and 3 blocks. He's the first player to have 20 points and 15 rebounds and 5 assists in a Division I game this season. He's the second to do it in a win over another top 25 team since, in the last 5 years. The last to do it was this Indiana forward.
It's more than 25 years ago?
No, in the last 5 years.
In the last 5 years.
Yeah, only one other's done it.
Forward. So it's not Farrell. It's not Langford. It's who is it? Tell me.
It is TJD, Trace Jackson Davis.
Oh right, yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, my bad.
With that one, and then Dylan Harper had an unbelievable game in a Rutgers overtime win over Notre Dame in the very very late game. yesterday. 36 points to go with 6 rebounds, 6 assists. First D1 freshman since 2018 to have 35-5-5, a 35-5-5 game as a freshman since 2018. This Oklahoma guard.
Was it Buddy Hield?
Not Buddy
Trey
Hield.
Young?
Trey Young is who Dylan Harper joins on that list there.
Very good. Very good. I would rather have him than Cooper Flagg, I think. I got to think about that. I got to watch them more during the season, but I think.
Yeah, I haven't watched like a ton of Rutgers yet. I mean,
I
a little bit of that.
I haven't watched a ton, right? Yeah, I get it.
But
yeah. All right. Tubular, quick. Nailed it. I like when we stick the
Try
line
it
in.
again.
Tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
Big Ten Network for Bucknell, Maryland at 4:30. Morgan and UMBC right now on ESPN Plus. It's so much college basketball. I can't possibly go over all of it. It's all at GlenClarkRadio.com to go check it out there. Some NBA tonight on TNT, on ESPN, as they've got Knicks Mavs at 7:30, Thunder Warriors at 10. TNT has Capitals Lightning at 7:30, Golden Knights Avalanche at 10. And again, Monumental has Clippers Wizards at 7. Everything else, college basketball, huge day of college hoops. It's been a great week of college hoops. Find it all at GlenClarkRadio.com. We'll post Tubular for Thursday and for the weekend, despite the fact that we won't be here. We don't. If non-sports, we'll just put up at GlenClarkRadio.com. I got to wrap up. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Nutcracker's Ben Stiller movie coming out on Friday on Hulu.
Can't miss that. That's huge. Obviously, that's massive. So we won't miss that. But we'll get it all up, I promise. We're off tomorrow. We're off Friday. But Rita and I are with you tomorrow and Friday morning over on 105.7 The Fan. So hang out with us there, and I will be bugging you about the raffle for helping up. I will be bugging the hell out of you. Be aware. If you're part of our crew, you're going to be getting messages from me. Just get ahead of it. Go ahead and get your donations in. We need it. It's that time of year. That's what matters most. Thanks today to Trey Thomas. Thanks also to Ken Zalis. Thanks to Jay Gruden and to Seth Greenberg. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Can You Take Me Higher
tab at GlenClarkRadio.com. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Visit Hartford Live Casino and Hotel, Cruise Maryland, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Royal Farms, Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costa Sin, MSAA, Maryland Sports, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Paul will be with you for the bat around on Saturday morning. We'll be back for Project Game Day on Sunday. Have a great, happy, healthy weekend tonight. Do not drink and drive. My God, do not drink and drive. I'm begging you. Call me. Don't call me. I'm smoking a turkey. But I'll try to get to somebody. Call an Uber. For Christ's sake, do not drink and drive. Have a great weekend. Go, everybody. Duke sucks.